What's happening, everybody, and welcome back to the True Gamer Podcast, the podcast hosted by two gamers for you, the True Gamers. I'm one of your hosts, Eddie, along with my bro, the inverted gamer himself, Sheps. Do you know what happened? It's the weirdest thing. Because I was moving, my beard touched the microphone, and that was enough to throw me all out.
You're like, and my bro, beard?
Wait, hold on a second.
Wait a minute.
Do this intro again. Okay.
Just leave it, man. That was good enough for me. It's good enough for them. Frick those guys.
Frick those guys. That guy's my inverted gamer himself, Sheps. How's it going, bro?
Great, because you nailed it. You remembered my name. There were no stumbles.
No, nothing like that.
Yeah.
Nothing ruined anything there. This is us professional as always.
Yeah.
I think it's
As
fitting.
what?
As
what?
Sorry, I misspoke there. Like usual.
There you go.
We are professionals like
That's right.
that.
That's right.
I think it's fitting because this is the last episode of 2020
Yeah.
ever from Conversations. We're shutting it down. No more episodes, guys. It's been a good run.
I mean, I quit. Basically, it's been, a year and a half, and we can't stand each other.
We really can't. We've been
God.
putting on these faces. And,
It's true.
And it got made worse when we started to look at each other.
It's true.
Yeah, even though you guys said it looks great on YouTube and whatnot.
That's right. The sexual tension's unbearable.
Just Oh, yes. This is actually the last episode of the True Gamer Podcast for this year.
Yeah.
Might be the last bit of content we put out. There might be, we might do some streams or something like that, but this might be the actual last bit of proper content that we put out for this year.
Could be.
Yeah, so let's make it a banger. This episode, we're going to be doing all kinds of stuff. We're going to be mainly focusing on our games of the year.
Yeah.
We're going to be discussing all kind of games we've been playing, all the good stuff.
We did a predictions video, and I forgot to watch it to figure out what we predicted.
God damn it, we did, didn't we?
Frick!
I was like, wait, did we talk about it? No, we did. Don't worry about it, guys. We'll come back to that when the year is over. That's what we were meant to do all along.
Yeah, we'll see how our predictions turned out. At the beginning of 2021, we'll see what our predictions for 2020 look like.
We did it so long ago. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, so mainly we're going to be talking about our games of the year this year. In this episode. We've got a couple of small topics to talk about as well. Some things that's been happening in gaming since we last spoke. And but yeah, I think it'll be good fun. I think.
Yeah,
I think
should be
thing
good.
going on right there.
This podcast, actually, along with all of our content across both of our channels, really this channel, we do have a second channel. Technically, our much bigger channel.
Technically,
I love that meme. I love that meme of the one kid in the swimming pool just like in desperate need and the mum just like holding up the other kid. But this content is brought to you by incredible Combro patrons. I remembered it. Over on patreon.com/conversations. Who do we have to thank?
We have Diogo Dildo, Isak the Ultimate, Carol Tarivia, aka Catsper the Friendly Patron, Record Friction, Dan the Man, Jeremy Renner, that's right, an official Avenger, Martin Scorsese's Master H Barts 12, Master Chief himself, Albiscori, the Midget Ole from Smallville Sabine, Super Sus Ben Fryer, the Star Wars Encyclopedia, Adam Sunling, and the Gamer of Gaming Shire, Dave Bindis. Thank you, bros, so much for keeping the lights, the mics on, and the gaming going here at Conversations. All of you guys that support us on Patreon, you guys are all fantastic. This might be a good point to mention to all of the bros that are watching, all the guys that are supporting us over on Patreon.
Yeah. Well, wait, first, because we might as well get it out of the way. This, of course, is a True Gamer Podcast brought to you by incredible patrons over on patreon.com/conversations at the $5 tier who cyberbullied us into making this podcast in particular happen. All my days I'm getting a cramp. That is awful.
The perfect time. Perfect time right there.
That is bad. So those guys that support us on the $5 tier are
Jeremy Horde, Record Friction, Diogo, Isak Manny, Adam Sunling, Dan, Real Cinema, Catsper Coral,
I love it,
Sab2557, David Bindis, The Ultimate Audio Virgin, Albiscori, Hooded Dude, Cobra SS, Ashton is not happy that Matt Platinum Odyssey, Benedict Clobbers, Batfan257, 527 I should say, I keep saying that the other way around, Max H, Fishy, and our boy Zahir. Thank you, bro, so much for keeping the lights and mics on and the gaming going here at Conversations.
That's right.
There we go.
But you guys...
So I'm just closing the blinds over here. Don't worry about me.
This is going super smooth. I think we should keep all of these frick ups in because it's so us.
This is Conversations. We're like a garbage truck on fire. That's what we are.
Yeah, like a train crash. You can't look away.
It's like, no.
Yeah, it's awful, but you can't stop watching it. Yeah. So you guys, especially at the $5 tier, we did a few months ago now, we did the True Gamer Plus tier where you got the actually everybody, by the way, this tier went really well. Everybody was super happy with those game covers. I am. It's on my one. In fact, I was thinking about this earlier. The only problem with being the guy that makes the thing, no one writes you a personalized message.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
I should have wrote one for you, and then you could have written one for me.
Right.
End of the day, it would just be us cussing each other.
Yeah, I would have written the word
You
cunt
suck.
over Judy's face. Like,
I would have cried.
yeah.
But yeah, what we're saying here, guys, is that all of you guys that did support us over on Patreon at that tier, we love you. You guys are all fantastic.
Yeah.
However, it's come to a close now. So before the next month starts, if you guys want to head into your Patreon, change your tier from that tier, because you won't be getting any extra benefits. There's nothing else that we're giving. There's nothing planned at the moment. You need to switch from that tier to something else so you aren't charged the extra money. Not for no reason. You're still supporting us, but, you know, you're not getting anything extra.
It's one of those weird... It's like we just discussed this off camera. Well, I say off camera. It was on camera. You're just almost certainly going to forget to cut it out. But if he does remember, it's this middle ground. If we cancel that tier, then you guys aren't patrons. And I know a lot of you guys want to be patrons. That's why you're on Patreon.
Yeah.
But there's no bonus. So we don't want you getting charged extra.
Exactly.
And you're like $2 away from being a super bro. So like you're so close, but you're not getting the super bro benefits.
Yeah.
And you're a fair bit away from just True Gamer. So we don't want any, we want, like, if you adjust it now, then you won't get charged for not getting any extra, especially now, because in 2021 I'm hiking these prices, boys. You did it to yourselves. It's $200 just to start.
Sheps is the suit of
For the
conversations.
low price of $200 a month, you can get no benefits.
The suit of conversation has spoken, guys.
Hey,
has
man,
spoken.
my Visa Corpo.
Yeah,
so,
there you go. There you go. Oh god, I'm playing so much Cyberpunk. How have you been enjoying Cyberpunk recently?
Oh yeah, I've actually been enjoying it a lot. It's funny, we had a conversation earlier, and I think we both came to the same realization about the side content.
Yes, in our little early impressions video, we was like, the side content's not on the same level as like The Witcher 3.
Lacking,
it feels really lacking. But then we sort of realized that actually this stuff that is side content, we're not seeing it as side content because of the way that it gets picked up.
It's structured in the way that it makes it look like it's almost main story wise.
Yeah.
And I think the reason that we felt like it wasn't as good as The Witcher was that in The Witcher you'd see a question mark, you'd go over to a hut, and there'd be a guy in there saying, "Oh, Mr. Witcher, you know, my son's been taken by a vampire cow. Can you help?" Right? And
do that again.
No, I can only do two voices. I could do Bumpkin guy and one guy from New York who wants his mate Bobby to help him look at. So that's
Hey, Bobby.
Yo, Bob. This witch over here. Take a look at this guy. So like you would explore and come up to this place, and it would organically present you with like this story that would then unfold and lead you on to other things. In Cyberpunk, you randomly get phone calls.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't feel like you're finding stuff out. It feels like stuff's being thrown at you in a sense, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like the world's quite so alive. But when you look at what you're actually doing, like we both did that mission with Judy, which is it's a side mission.
Yes.
You can choose not to do it. It's not main story at all, right? But it kind of felt like it was, because to do the mission, you call Judy, who's a character that the main story introduces you to, right? And then you look at it and realize that you've done, like, if you're in my case, like 2 main missions, but you're level 18, about 25 to 30 hours in, and I was complaining that like there's no side content, it doesn't feel alive. But all I've done is side content. I'm really happy with what I've done.
I had the similar realization. Obviously, I was doing more of the main story, and I was like, I think there was a mission with Judy. Obviously, whenever Judy calls me up, my ears are immediately. I'm like, oh, all right, baby. No, I'm coming. I'm coming right away. In more ways than one. Okay, I'm coming. I go over to her, and I notice it's like, it's not got anything to do with Johnny Silverhand. I'm not. It's not got anything to do with the chip and stuff like that. So I'm like,
it's Evelyn Parker, right?
Yeah. And then I look in the journal, and I see it's side content. I'm like, these are side quests.
Yeah.
And it's like, they're huge. It's just because they're not picked up in the same way, like you said in The Witcher, that it doesn't feel like side quests in the traditional sense. But when you realize that, you're like, wow, these are huge missions. They're huge side quests.
There's a lot. I gotta be honest, I'm really enjoying it. There are some bugs, like I think we both had the same bug where you go to pick up a briefcase for someone. I can't remember why.
Wakanado.
Yeah, the Japanese fixer lady who's older. She called me in the middle of my dialogue trying to get the suitcase, and I couldn't continue that mission.
Yeah.
I had to do her dialogue, and then there's this bit where you respond, and then she just sits there looking at you.
Yeah.
And it won't let you
Can't
do any
do
other.
shit.
You can't do anything. And so I ran off to like try and explore track down the one of the other bits of the quest.
Yeah.
And then V says, "So you want me to murder someone?" I'm like, "Wait."
We skipped something.
Yeah, like,
something there was
yeah. So
missing.
like, I guess her lines aren't being delivered or something. But at least if she was speaking. Also, I want to know like why this guy's gonna get offed. I'm totally down to be a hitman.
Yeah.
That's exactly how I'm playing my V.
Yeah.
Just, I wish I'd been involved in that conversation. It's like, sorry, Ricardo, or whatever her name was. Like, I was not paying attention. I was on Instagram.
Yeah, sorry, I was tweeting there.
Right.
Let us know if you got that little bug there, because it's weird that we both got it, right? But we are both playing on PS5, so maybe something to do there.
Yeah, I mean, apparently I've seen a few videos and GIFs of like combat.
Yeah.
Similar to, God, why can I never remember his name? Is it Sung Lee?
Oh, the guy that makes the GIFs.
Yeah, no, it's not. What is his name?
It's a tough one. It's not like a Derek or a Smith or something like that. It's really strange. I don't think you're going to be able to find it, to be honest.
Yeah, basically there's a guy on, I think it's Sung Lee, something like that, on Twitter.
Yeah.
Who makes incredible GIFs of like flawless combat.
Yeah.
Of PlayStation exclusives. And a lot of these things look like his stuff, where it's obviously a higher level V with like the power jump mod.
Yeah.
Doing stuff like that.
He always has the best mods. He always picks the best powers in
Yeah.
every game and everything like that.
And it looks super slick, but they're all on PC.
Yeah.
My experience hasn't been that slick. I do think, though, it would be better if we had scuff controllers and stuff like that, you know, because a lot of what you would have
can
to
like
do.
map buttons and whatnot to certain
Yeah.
places. I've never been too much of a fan of the scuff controllers. I feel like I can do enough with the controllers, but maybe because I haven't owned one that I don't feel like it.
I miss mine.
Yeah, because you did have one for the PS3?
Yeah.
PS3 back in the day. Anyway, by the way, I found him. So it's a Sunhi Legend.
That's what I said,
Legend.
Rav. That's what I said.
That's what you said, yeah. Sung Lee. Yeah. That's what you
It's
said.
actually pretty close.
Actually,
It's closer than Chow Mein.
There you go. Exactly. Yeah, so we're enjoying Cyberpunk. I think that's
For anybody that's new, by the way, that's actually an AC joke, not a racist joke. Actually, yes, it kind of is racist.
You need to go way further back. That's the problem. You say AC, but then like, what kind of joke and what?
Yeah, it's an air conditioning joke. Come
An
on,
air
pay
conditioning
attention.
joke.
What's her
Anyway.
name? Xiao Jun.
Let's talk
Yeah.
about our games of the year.
Yeah.
Let's get into that. So,
Wait, you're not enjoying the chaos
I,
of wherever this is taking us?
God, there we go.
Do you know what we should do? We should do one episode of either of the podcasts and just drop acid and see where we go with it. You know?
Just and what? Yeah, we should.
We'll
do it
probably
live.
just do really normal podcasts.
We could do it. Yeah, like
Because we're so cracked out as it is.
we're cracked out, and then when you put us on acid.
Yeah.
So, how's your day been?
Quite good. Yours?
Yeah, not bad actually.
Yeah.
Been good. Yeah.
Yeah. Good. Good.
Anyway, game of the year.
Yeah.
It is the end of the year. It is the final episode, so we can do this and round out the year and talk about how awesome gaming has been. What I want us to do is for us to talk about what games we found most interesting in this year. I feel like that's quite cool. Have a nice little discussion about that. And also, I did do a Google poll of people to see what their games of the year were, and also just for fun, the biggest mistake in gaming in 2020.
Okay.
The results are quite fun, and I think that would be quite interesting to talk about.
Okay.
But let's talk about our games of the year.
Okay.
We had a couple of good ones that came out. I'm going to shout out just a couple that are like some worthy, some names that are worth noting.
Yeah, I just googled games from 2020 and there's actually a lot more than I remember.
Exactly, because this year feels like it's been dragging on, right?
Yeah.
We've had Cyberpunk most recently, Doom Eternal, The Last of Us Part 2, Animal Crossing New Horizon, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, although that's probably not going to come in Game of the Year discussion.
Bug Snacks, of course.
Bug Snacks, exactly. Final Fantasy Remake, Ghost of Tsushima, Ori and the Will of the Wisp, Flight Simulator, Fall Guys. On Google, it still has Halo Infinite listed.
I know,
for
I
2020.
I just saw that.
That's a burn. Resident Evil 3, Marvel's Avengers. That's down there with AC Valhalla. Watchdog Legions as well, not a great one. Marvel Spider-Man, Miles Morales, Star Wars Squadrons, and a bunch more and stuff like that. Some really, really good games, and it's been come at a good time because we've been stuck at home.
Did you say that one?
Yeah, I did mention that. Yeah. It's such a good time for games to have come out. These quality games to have come out.
Yeah.
What games have you been most enjoying? Not necessarily your game of the year, but what games have you most been enjoying?
Games that I enjoyed.
Yeah.
Doom Eternal was just so much.
It was perfect, right? Everything we needed.
It was just sit down. I don't want to say mindless because it isn't a mindless shooter, but it was sit down, switch off, and just murder demons.
Yeah.
Plus, there's some story there. It was great.
Yeah.
I
was most impressed with how that ran. Like
so good,
so smooth, so smooth. It was there was not a hitch ever.
I'm most impressed with how that one ran because it wasn't an exclusive.
Yeah.
That's the thing that impresses me most. Like
normally you get a PS exclusive and it runs perfectly.
Ghost of
and everything else is a
Tsushima,
bit...
the two for me are just like the cream of the crop. Ghost of Tsushima and The Last of Us 2. In terms of how smoothly they ran, because I played both of those on my day of release PS4. They ran so smooth. I had no glitches. The combat was so clean and crisp. And Doom Eternal, I would say, was every bit as well optimized.
Yeah.
You know, I don't feel like its combat is a ton of fun, but it's not as refined as those two in particular.
Yeah.
But it's not meant for that kind of combat.
It's not.
No,
Yeah.
it is much more hack / shoot, explode demons.
Yeah.
But it ran incredibly well, and I had so much fun playing it. I had a ton of fun playing Ghost of Tsushima, different kind of fun.
Yeah.
And I want to say I had fun playing The Last of Us 2, but I don't know if fun's that would. I enjoy it. I actually want to play it again.
Oh, really?
Well, no.
That's
because
the
it's
thing.
so draining.
Yeah, it's not that it's not a good game. It's draining, physically draining on your body.
But I do want to go back because I like to. I've only played it the once, right? And I feel like like reviewing movies.
Yeah,
I think you probably need to see it twice.
right.
The way I would watch a movie if I was going to review, I'd watch it once to enjoy it.
Yeah,
just to experience it,
take it all in,
and then come back like a week or 2 weeks later with my notepad and watch it and dissect it. Right? What was my first impression of it? Going in, just watching it, just being as a kid, like being entertained.
Yeah,
And then dissecting it. This doesn't make any sense. Why is that there? This was a really good shot. You know, that kind of stuff. And I want to go back and play it and dissect the game overall, but also Ellie's section.
Yeah,
Because in my mind, you play for far too long. And I still think that's the case, but I need to dissect it. I just experienced it the first time, if that makes any sense. But it is a lot. It is intense.
Yeah.
But is the combat smooth. So those games super impressed me. I want to play Final Fantasy 7, but I've got Cyberpunk to get through.
It is, damn good.
It's
We're
meaty.
enjoying it right now.
It's meaty. We're both enjoying it, which I'm glad is the case because it could have been hit or miss.
Yeah, I mean, it could have totally gone like, you know what, I'm just not enjoying myself, like people are and whatnot.
I just completely forgot. Do you know what didn't make the list? Call of Duty.
Yes, that's an interesting one as well because I've been playing the campaign.
Yeah.
And I have been playing the multiplayer as well, and I've been having a ton of fun.
Yeah.
It's sort of widely accepted by true gamers, the people that listen to this podcast and stuff like that Call of Duty can't win Game of the Year.
I would agree, actually.
Yeah, it's something about it being annualized just goes. No, it's just not. It's not enough passion goes into it in order to win.
It can have a great story.
Yeah.
Like I think the Blops 1 campaign was brilliant.
Yeah,
And
this one's good as well. By the way, I have to say I played it and it's fucking fantastic. I love it.
Yeah.
Not like moved me or anything like that, but it is good.
But would you say just taking the campaign, if it goes up head to head with Doom Eternal? Yeah.
Yeah.
Or The Last of Us.
And that's the
or
problem
Ghost of
with
Tsushima. Or
Exactly.
Cyberpunk. Or Bugsnax. Or
Bugsnax. I mean, let's have a fair fight now. That's Logan Paul versus Floyd Mayweather. Come
apparently
on.
that Oddworld game, apparently that did come out.
Did it?
You know, the Abe's Odyssey game.
God, it
apparently
just
that came out this year.
disappeared into the background, didn't it?
I really kind of want to play that. Super Meat Boy Forever? What?
All right.
I had Super Meat Boy, and it was fun. It was quite frustrating but it was fun. Spelunky. There are a lot of games here. Genshin Impact. I've heard a lot about that, but
I've
not
heard of that
seen
too.
it.
Heard of that too.
Don't know anything about it. Looks like a weeb game, so I'd probably love it.
That is a Shep's game through and through. Guys in the chat right now, they're like, this is a weeb game. This is a Shep's game right here. The only game that I would say that isn't getting mentioned, and I think it's fair, is Demon Souls.
Yeah.
Because it's a remake of the 2009 version. But the thing is, it's been so faithfully remade.
Yeah.
And it's just still so great. I feel like we need to bring it up. It's not going to win Game of the Year.
No.
Because, as I said, I don't think it should win for the fact that it's a remake.
What about
and because
the 7 remake? Agreed? It's a much older game. I want to say like 96. But...
See, that's the thing. The Final Fantasy VII remake, even though I haven't played it, I've only played the demo. I've seen it been played. I've watched a lot of streams and whatnot.
97.
They completely changed that. Like, it's a different game altogether. It just happened to carry some same story beats, and that's it. But they really reimagined that. It's being talked about, so I'll give it to them for that. But I could argue that maybe it shouldn't be in the discussion. Though.
Yeah.
But that's just my personal thing. Anyway.
Yeah, sure.
I did put it on the list because I know that people would burn this
Animal
podcast
Crossing.
to the ground. Yes.
I forgot that came out this year. I wouldn't give it to that, but I'm sure there are people that would.
I think Animal Crossing came out at a time where everyone was. I think the lockdown was first starting in the UK, and it just happened in America. March, and people were like, if Animal Crossing comes out now, you can literally save the world from burning down, because people were like, what am I going to do inside?
Yeah.
For this long, and it was a game that you can come back to all the time, keep coming, and it's like one of those daily check-in games. And it did do its job because it came at the perfect time and it saved everyone who liked it. My girlfriend, she took my Switch. I just didn't see it for the next 2 months. But yeah, that's on there as well.
That's good.
Demon Souls, though, I'm having a lot of fun with it. I'm playing it on stream and stuff like that. A lot of glitches in that game.
It's way
so
worse
buggy.
than Cyberpunk.
So much. There's just every single time it's the same type of glitch, though, where it shows me dying.
Right. Does it put you back to where you would normally respawn?
Yes.
But you haven't actually died.
I haven't died though. I mean, I'm a true gamer. I don't die.
Zero deaths. Yeah.
I'm zero death gameplay.
Yeah, it's almost a useless feature to put in the game, like your character dying. Well, if your character dies, the game ends and you finish the game, so he can't have died. They should have put
a version where it's for me, whereas there's obviously no death screens, obviously, and then everyone else because they're fake gamers.
Exactly.
I apparently I'm up to like 58 glitches already now.
Yeah, that's quite a lot of glitches.
A lot of glitches right there. What other games? I would say Doom Eternal I want to bring up as well. That was fantastic. I did love that. Marvel's Spider-Man. This is an interesting question. The Miles Morales one. Yeah. I liked it. It was short. It gave me a decent story. I think the story was better than it deserved to be for such a small game.
Right. I see what you mean.
Because it was it had an actual...
It's better than you could have asked for.
Exactly. Like the ending to it. And I was like, wow, this is hitting me a little bit here. This is hitting me. And they've put a lot of effort into thinking about the story and acting into this.
Watch they become annualized. You go Miles Morales, Pete, Miles, Pete.
They could do. They could do. I mean, the next one I think, in my opinion, should be Venom. But don't worry about it. I mean, that's just me talking here.
A Venom game could be huge.
Yes,
that would be sick. Except it has to be better than the movie.
It has to be
just
Tom Hardy playing Venom. It has to be Tom Hardy playing as Eddie Brock. It has to be.
Also, like, just to quickly moan about it, one of the things I like the least about the movie, apart from fundamentally changing what the symbiotes do,
right? Apart from its core foundation.
Yeah, apart from getting everything completely wrong, right? Is there are a few decisions that were made. The very first thing that stood out to me as wrong is that, like, they're using his voice, but it's kind of like it's made deeper and aggressive, and it kind of shouts at him. It's very loud, and I think it should have been that same modifier, so it's like a monstery voice, but like whispering to him. Yeah, you know,
it just seems to be talking. It's just like
Eddie. That's
actually
really
I nail
good.
It?
That's solid.
I think I just nailed it.
They're not going to believe that that's real.
That's actually a soundbite over the top.
I'm freaking impressed. That was really good. I'm hungry. Right. And I think it should have been, I mean, that same kind of voice, but like whispering to him instead of it going like, run and kill them, right? Like shouting, it should have been like, we should run. but like sinister.
Also, the Venom. I mean, I haven't seen the comics, so I don't know about like what Venom's. I know the basis of Venom, and I know from the movies what he's supposed to be. It's a thing that come from. It's like an alien organism that attaches, and then the symbiote. I get what that means.
It's a big deal that he starts out with Pete.
Yeah, so
It's a big deal.
That's the thing. They didn't show that because in the movie that never happened. They went straight to Eddie Brock. But also, it seemed like the symbiote was a good guy. And I was like, is Venom supposed to be a good guy?
First of all, Venom is supposed to be a villain to start. There is, I think it's Detective Venom.
Okay.
Do you know this? So
No.
It's where Venom becomes like, maybe not quite a hero, but like an anti-hero. Definitely, but not a villain, right? So he's kind of doing good. Like, is it him and Eddie Brock, or is it him and Flash? But one of them, I think it's Flash. I think Venom leaves Eddie Brock, and ends up in Flash, attached to Flash, who's like Pete Parker's schoolhood bully, but is a big fan of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And I believe this is the case, and they find that like it's the perfect mix, right? It just they match perfectly,
Right.
and Flash doesn't want to be a villain.
Right.
But he doesn't exactly want to be a hero. And Venom doesn't want to be a hero. So they kind of mix and match where it's kind of like a Guardians of the Galaxy thing.
Yeah.
Where, I mean, they're not quite so goofy, but...
With outlaws and whatnot.
Yeah, it kind of... Skirting the law, like maybe they do something illegal, but it's like not to the letter of the law illegal, rather than like, you know, at the end where Drax is like, what if somebody annoys me and I remove his spine? Like, that's original Venom.
Yeah.
And the newer Venom, Detective Venom with Flash, I think it's Flash, is more like the, what should we do? Something good, something bad, little of both. Little of both.
Little of both.
Right. But it's a big deal that Venom starts out with Pete, because Venom absorbs like he bonds with people, right? And so when he bonds with Pete, he takes up the fact that Pete is Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So he gets the sticking to walls thing and the webs, and
because that's the thing, like he does a lot of stuff that's not Spider-Man exactly, but he does a lot of things like the webbing almost thing, even though it's not really webs and whatnot.
Right. They're trying to square that circle, but it doesn't work.
And it's like, but he needs to. And then he didn't have the white spider on Venom's chest. Like, well, we can't put it there because he hasn't seen Spider-Man yet. So just leave it empty. It's like, well, that's now it just doesn't even look like
I feel
Venom.
like there's an extended cut of this movie.
Yeah.
Where there's a reshoot of this movie. Where the first 5 minutes are like the shuttle crashes into the Brooklyn River or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Spidey swings down, gets black stuff on him, and Eddie Brock sees it, and then Spidey swings away. And then Eddie Brock, one day after he gets fired, like 5 minutes later, comes out to a dumpster where he sees someone throw something in there, and he goes up to it, and it's a Spidey suit covered in black shit.
It jumps onto him.
And then that's all we needed.
Yeah.
For us to know that Spidey got it, has had his dancing in the streets moment, right? And threw the thing away. Crucial. And then Venom can be Venom with the Spidey powers and have nothing. We can ignore Pete.
You know, I've just realised we're talking about movies, and we've talked about it for a while, and we're talking about gaming.
We're coming back to Miles Morales, which was
a Venom game after Miles Morales. That's
it was really good. I mean, I didn't play it mainly because as soon as I took over Miles, you can't nose dive into the ground and kill yourself, which is ridiculous.
I mean, this game is unrealistic. 0 out of 10.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. A lot of people were saying that, it's too short for the money and stuff like that. I sunk like 30 hours into this thing. That's more than enough game for even the $60 game and whatnot. I enjoyed myself, and I really, really, really did like the new set of powers that you got with Spider-Man. I thought it was really cool. Right. However, do we put it on game of the year nominations?
I wouldn't.
Yeah.
But I would also, generally speaking, not give it to Spider-Man overall.
Yeah.
Like, and not in the same way, in a similar sense to COD.
Yeah. Which
is that it's a given. Spider-Man's going to be good. Forget Miles, but like it's Peter Parker, it's Spider-Man. Have they ever made a bad one? I think the worst Spider-Man game's still really fun.
I was going to say, when you put swinging in anything, it's just like instant success.
But similarly, I would never give it to a new Crash, right? I don't think Ratchet and Clank's going to get it for 2021. I don't think it's going to come out for a Spyro game. It's not. Bug Snacks wouldn't win it, right? But
Disappointment.
I know.
Everyone in the chat right now.
Everybody just like
Sheps,
that.
dude.
Yeah.
Cancel Sheps. #, cancel Sheps.
So I think Spider-Man games, just unless they really come up with an insane game, they're not winning it. Not that they aren't good, but that a game that I mean, I know it's a few years old, but like God of War or Red Dead would win it, you know? Like I think Final Fantasy, Ghost of Tsushima, The Last of Us, Doom, Cyberpunk, any one of those is a better candidate for it, because it's I don't know, man. And that's not to take away from the Spider-Man games or Miles Morales, because I know it's a DLC, but I would class Miles Morales as its own game.
Yeah,
as Spider-Man 2020.
Yeah.
I just don't think it gets Game of the Year. And I'm sure someone thinks it's the best game they've played.
Yeah,
I don't doubt that.
I put it in the poll for the guys at home and whatnot, because I felt like there wasn't that many big... I mean, when you think about tentpole games and whatnot, I've got a list here. I've put Doom Eternal, Ghost of Tsushima, Last of Us Part 2, Cyberpunk 2077, Final Fantasy Remake, Animal Crossing New Horizons, Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
I was going to say Valhalla, and I hate that I put it there, because I'm not an AC guy, but I think it deserves to be there.
I put Miles Morales in there. And also I did put, just for something on the side to put a bit of a zip in this, I put actually Fall Guys. Okay. Basically the same sort of level of game.
I downloaded that and haven't played it once.
It's fun. I don't know what's the hype level sitting at over the Fall Guys right now.
Let's go on Twitch.
Yeah, go search Twitch, because that's usually a good barometer for like what people are playing right now.
Also, I kept calling it Fallout Guys, like Fallout Boy the band. Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout.
Yes.
12k viewers at the minute.
That's not bad. That's still at least it's not dead. Yeah.
Well, let's see what Fortnite's doing. Fortnite
is dead. It's not doing anything.
Fortnite is dead. Has
confirmed, guys.
111,000 viewers.
It's not that bad. I mean, Fortnite is this thing that's ridiculously known around everywhere, and try something like Call of Duty Warzone. How about that? Even though
Warzone 86k. Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War 10k though. So
I think that's fair.
I wonder if that's the campaign though. No, that's the multiplayer.
I think that's holding its own. I think 11k is holding its own.
It's not terrible, yeah, for sure.
All right. Let's start talking about the big four, shall we? We'll go through and we'll talk about these, and then we'll say our game of the year.
Yeah, okay.
Let's start with Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah.
Fantastic bloody game. Came out of absolutely nowhere. We didn't think we would. We're like, oh, we're going to get a game set in Japan made by Sucker Punch Studios, the guys that made Infamous Second Son. We're like... We thought they were going to make Spider-Man, first of all, because of their swinging.
They should.
We thought that's totally fitting.
And for the record, I think Sucker Punch should make Spider-Man games. They got it down.
Yeah.
That like, you know, in GTA where you can just drive around.
Yeah.
Spider-Man games have that aspect to them where you can just web around, and so does the Infamous franchise.
Yeah.
Especially Second Son. I found that game really. So I think they should.
But we're in this world where they didn't, and we've got two fantastic games.
I was quite loud about saying Sucker Punch should not be making this kind of game.
It's a mistake. They shouldn't be doing it.
So glad I was wrong.
But yeah, it turned out to be absolutely fantastic. I really can't say enough good about this. Everything about it was great. The music was great.
The score was brilliant.
The look of it was fantastic. I am not a Japanese history connoisseur. Yeah. You're probably better at it, so you could tell me. Yeah, but when I looked at everything, it looked so authentic and so cool. Sure. And so I don't know if they maybe just took the best parts out of it. But
yeah, I mean, it looked great. I'm not exactly a historian.
You're a connoisseur historian. Right. You could just tilt your glasses down like that.
Yeah, that's correct. I think it's not exactly period correct.
Right.
But it's like, look, if you take someone to like England in the 1100s and England in like the 1400s, most people probably can't tell the difference. Right. The average village probably doesn't look that different. Right. And so, for example, AC Valhalla, just to talk about this note of historical thing, I haven't played it, but I've watched a few guys play it. There are far too many castles. Yeah. Castles aren't a thing in England until about 12 to 1300. Yeah. Right. And then they come up everywhere like weeds. But until somewhere in there, like at 1000 AD, not many.
Yeah.
And probably a lot of those are still built on Roman stuff.
Mm.
But most people don't know that. Most people don't care.
Yeah.
Most people don't know that, like, that guy we saw at the beginning who's in full armor that Ivar just knifes.
Oh, yeah.
Full armor's not a thing, really, until,
Not those times.
it's not for another 150 years, right? The Crusades are 150 years away, something like that.
Classic Ubisoft getting their dates wrong.
But in the grand scheme of things, it's 1,000 years ago for us. That's within 10%.
Yeah, it becomes blurry for us, right?
It's kind of close. All people know is like Vikings, medieval England,
Yeah.
that kind of thing, right? So same thing with Ghost of Tsushima, where I think a lot of there's a fair bunch in there that isn't like exactly period correct, but for the average guy, for the layman, Japan has like 3,000 years where it doesn't change, and then Westerners arrive, and then within a couple hundred years, you've gone through like Westerners arrived, and it's all samurai stuff, to like Industrial Revolution.
Anime.
Right, exactly. Tentacle porn, and we're here.
We ruined them, guys. We ruined them. They were so pure. And then the Westerners arrived and we ruined everything for them.
Right. So it looks great.
Yeah.
I think you get a really good feel, even though you're not in Japan, you're not on the mainland, you get a real good feel for Japan.
On top of this, like, being a really good feeling, at least for someone like me, as I said, I don't know anything about Japan really, but I got a good
you played
feeling.
it correctly.
Oh, yeah?
With the Japanese audio.
Yeah, so that was the first time I've ever played something in another language.
I actually should play it again.
I played it in Japanese, and it just added a layer of authenticity to me. I don't know if it was real authenticity or if it was just seeming like it because I'm an ignorant white person in the West, or whatever it is and whatnot.
Could be.
But I was just like, this feels right. And I read the subtitles and it felt good to me. It felt extra special. It added to that level of immersion to the whole place looking fantastic.
Yeah.
And the whole honor system as well. That was very, very cool. I'd known about honor with samurais and Japanese culture and stuff like that, but I never really bothered to look into it, never really fully grasped it. But in this, somehow, it just seemed a lot more important. It was like, being the ghost is like kind of dishonorable.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, being a samurai, I see, because you're like up front and you give people the option to either fight you or fight you with their face looking at you. You're not trying to cower behind them.
It's something that I really appreciate in the game. And apparently, by the way, this game is really highly regarded in Japan.
Yeah, I heard that. Like, was it? I saw an article, something like that. 43 Japanese outlets say give Ghost of Tsushima Game of the Year this year. And I was like, wow.
Because Ghost of Tsushima, I love it because I love it. But even if it wasn't a game I hadn't, even if it was a game I hadn't played, I would love it because it wound up all the like shaven on one side, blue to green hair, faded like warriors that were like, Westerners making Japanese games cultural appropriation, blah blah blah, and then Japan were like, this game's incredible, it's really authentic, like you've done this amazingly well, right? So it's hit the nail on the head. But one of the things that I really liked about it was that the way the Sakai clan sort of tears itself away, and I mean that in like the most painful way possible, because like if you notice that the regular samurai, they would all have preferred to go into a fight and lose and die to a man than to give up their honor. It's a really important thing for like the samurai class, but they're not going to win. And the thing with Jin, which makes this, I feel like the story's a 7, but it could have been a 10 if they'd have explored a couple of things a little bit more. Like there's this one throwaway line. Sorry, I know I've jumped around there.
No, go on.
You meet, I think it's like the lady that used to take care of you as a kid.
Yes.
The
Like
lady that gives you the
she's like
poisons.
a housekeeper type person, right? Yeah.
And she teaches you how to make the poisons for the darts, which you use once for the quest and never again.
Never again. Never used it again.
And as you're riding up to the place where the flowers are, she says, "Oh, like if your father could see you now," and he says, "Oh, he'd be so dishonored or something, disappointed." And she was like, "Oh, I wouldn't be so sure about that. Like he and your uncle disagreed a lot about war." And it's interesting because it shows this whole thing. They should have explored that father-son relationship and should have had Jin come to learn about his father as a man by walking down this like slightly shadowy path. But the thing is that Jin, and it seems that it runs in his family, thinks that there's no honor in defeat, right? Whereas the rest of the samurai class views it as there's no honor in combat without honor. Right?
Yeah.
It's more honorable to lose and die, or to lose and then, because this is the thing that at the end, when you beat your uncle, he asks you to
Spoiler
kill him.
alert.
Yeah, it's been out for a year. Like, he asks you to kill him.
Yeah.
Or does he ask you to kill him or to help him kill himself?
Yeah, because he can't
Like-
kill himself. That's
Right.
dishonorable right there.
Well, so, but this is the thing. The way he wants to do it is a seppuku, where he is going
Oh,
to
I
cut his
see.
belly,
Right.
which is like, it's hardcore the way these guys, but that's the honorable way to do it, right? He lost in combat, so he wants to cut his belly and then have Jin cut his head off.
Yeah.
And that is honor,
Yeah.
right? It's better to lose a fight and functionally die or kill yourself that way than to fight in a way that has no honor. But for Jin, it's like, well, what's the point in fighting if we don't win? We need to, these guys are objectively evil.
Yeah.
Let's beat them. There's no honor in losing to these guys and having the island taken away. And I wish they'd have explored that just a little bit more.
Yeah.
But man, do I love it. And I really like that they at least explored that, because that is a relationship to a like a real cultural difference.
Yeah.
Right? The way a culture views death. And the samurai are a very stark example of how that is different. And at least they touched it. It's so good. I freaking love that game. I love
It's
that
all
game.
coming back now, isn't it?
Yeah, we need to do the raid. We got to do that.
Oh, I'd love to, man.
But we've got Cyberpunk, and
Life does
I never
not
got
permit
round
these
to it.
things.
I know. I hate that. And I really want to play it again in 60 FPS.
Yeah, dude. I actually installed it on the PS5 because when I heard 60 FPS, and I know you're big into it, and I was like, I want it to be at the ready. If I
Yeah.
find 5 minutes, I'm like, it's there. I've got it.
I want to just experience one of the duels.
Yes.
You know?
Speaking of duels, let's talk about some of the mechanics in this.
Yes.
Picking up stuff.
Oh my
we've
God.
said the best picking up mechanic
By
ever.
far. Best looting system ever.
One touch of a button, you got it. That's all you need.
Even at full pace on Roach, or whatever
Yeah.
it's called.
The
right,
horse,
Nobu or Kaze or whatever.
whatever you call.
Just bang, R2,
Go on.
click, 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 click.
That's
Incredible.
how it should be in every game.
Incredible.
Because don't get me wrong, and also encumbrance needs to get lost. I hate that shit.
Oh, yeah.
This game didn't have any of that. It was beautiful.
Makes sense.
I get
Like,
it.
if you're in Cyberpunk and you've just picked up like 15 machine guns, it's going to weigh a bit. So I get it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
This game was fantastic.
Yeah.
You just tap a button, you pick it up. The combat.
Yes.
On top of having the two different styles and whatnot, being more like samurai focused and whatnot, where you could do standoffs and things like that, which is just so freaking cool.
So sick.
When you do it 1,000 times, does weigh on you a
Yeah.
little bit,
Yeah.
but still, it's still got that same dramatic, boom, with the like flick out of the blade.
Well, so do you mean the standoff or the duels?
That's Jules. Sorry, my apologies.
'Cause
The
I'll
standoff
say-
is really cool as well because you step on one.
I will say,
Yeah.
for me, the highlight is the duels.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. The standoffs are good.
Yeah.
I like them. I like doing them a few times. And fighting a group of enemies can be really quite satisfying.
Yeah.
But something about fighting one single determined enemy, and I think in the whole game there's, I think, less than 20. So the fact that you have that long Kurosawa-esque standoff scene isn't that annoying, because it happens maybe 20 times in a 40-hour game.
Yeah.
It's not a lot.
Yeah.
To have that like cinematic intro and then come into this like really technical fight, man, did I appreciate that. And it brought me back to, you know how whenever we talk about Star Wars, you always talk about how you watch like the first like Return and Empire and stuff, like
Yeah.
your neighbors borrowed VHSs and stuff like that, right? Watching on the grainy TV and then
Those
rewinding it and
memories.
starting again, right?
Yeah.
And for me, I loved those old Kurosawa movies, even though I had no idea what was going on. I wasn't reading the subtitles. I was just like wide-eyed watching these movies.
Hunter's listening right now, just
Right.
like, yes, true cinema right here.
And this is what made me want to play Red Dead as well, because one of my childhood memories is watching cowboy movies at my grandparents, right? Weirdly, I'll just tell you this, because I always remember this. Their radiator was very close to the TV, so I would lie down on my back with my feet on the radiator watching these cowboy movies.
Oh, that's quite adorable.
Yes, as like a little kid, right?
Yeah.
Because it's just the way I was, and I loved those cowboy movies. And in a similar way, those old Kurosawa movies, I appreciate the standoffs, not standoffs, the duels, and I love the combat in those technical fights. It's so smooth. It's funny because it's so smooth that I actually didn't notice that it wasn't 60 FPS.
That's another thing
That
as well.
and The Last of Us 2.
The Last
So
of Us
smooth.
2, Death Stranding. These games, a couple of these games, they were running at 30 FPS because
Yeah.
of the limitations of like PS4, but they felt so smooth. Really,
So
really
smooth.
like a technical genius, technical marvel right there. Fantastic stuff. I really, really liked all of the duels, like you said, as
Yeah.
well, because they were all just a little bit different as well.
Yeah.
Like, there was times where you were like, okay, I've got the pattern down, but then the boss would change in the second half of the thing. But then each one of the bosses would have a different pattern and then change halfway through as
they're
well.
all different. And that,
Yeah.
so that's one of the last, I swear we will finish Samurai Talk. So one of these guys who, I think we may have met him in Samurai Champloo, by the way, the anime that we watched for Anime Club.
Okay.
And it was a little throwaway scene, but it's this one random guy living in a hill hut, and he finds one of the guys who's washed up in a river. Doesn't matter.
Okay.
It's not a big deal. This guy, Miyamoto Musashi, one of the greatest swordsmen, potentially the greatest swordsman ever to live. If even half of what he's said to have done is true, then he is like probably 10 or 15 times greater than the next nearest guy.
Yeah. Damn.
So for those that don't know, I swear, because I'm someone onto another topic I'm passionate about. So in the day, to be considered a master swordsman, you had to win 3 to 5 duels.
Yeah.
Right? Generally regarded, it's 50-50. It's a coin toss.
Yeah.
And it's a coin toss between either one of you or both of you die. Duels were very dangerous. Miyamoto was actually said to have killed at least 60 men in duels.
That's a record. That's a record.
By a long way.
Yeah.
By a long way. So he's regarded as potentially the greatest swordsman ever to have lived.
Even if it's half that, 30. Even that's a fucking record.
Yeah, that 30 is 6 times higher than other expert swordsmen. You know, at the higher end of being an expert swordsman.
Yeah.
And he also wrote a book, The Book of Five Rings, which is kind of like the Art of War kind of deal. Has all this wisdom and stuff in it. Although it's very interesting because you read it and it is about sword fighting.
Yeah.
Where it says like if an enemy comes to chop your head off from like left to right, this is how you defeat that technique, you know, stuff like that. But he also talks about other stuff like mentality and stuff. And Miyamoto Musashi is famous because he went around fighting other famous swordsmen. So he sought out famous warriors.
Yeah.
Do you remember the final fight in Samurai Champloo? There's a guy with a hook and a ball on a
Yeah.
chain.
Yeah.
That guy's a real dude. Sorry, guys. In history, I think his name was Baiken, I think. And this guy really fought that way with this tool.
Okay.
And he was incredibly, I think he'd killed like 10 or 11 people, very famous guy, because no one knew how to deal with that thing. Miyamoto Musashi was the only guy that figured out the strategy to beat the warrior, not the tool.
Right.
That's why Musashi won so many things.
Supposed to win,
Yeah, he fought the samurai, not the tool, not the sword, right? And that's why he's so famous, because he went and defeated all these guys that fought in all these different styles. And what does Jin do? He fights all these well-known warriors who all fight in different ways. Like one guy comes at you with loads of jabbing attacks. One guy comes at you with...
And you have different stances for it.
Right.
Okay. All right. That makes sense.
So there's all these like subtle little hints towards... There's these nods to Japan. And not just like it's set in Japan. But like the voice actor for Jin in Japanese voices this guy Roronoa Zoro in One Piece.
Right.
Whether you like One Piece or not, it's by far the biggest selling anime. I think it's the biggest selling comic of all time. It's enormous.
Right.
And he plays the greatest swordsman, one of the greatest swordsmen in that. And that guy is
And
the
he's
guy that
playing
voices Jin. So it's all these little nods. Like
See, this is what's really great about this game and why it deserves all the recognition that it's getting and stuff like that. Is that it came out of nowhere and it's the first
out
time
of nowhere.
First time they're ever doing a game like this, and they've just made it so right.
Smashed it out the park.
So cool, right?
Out of the park. Like, for example, we mentioned the looting system, right?
Yeah.
Apex Legends, 2 years ago, came out with their ping system, and now it's just the way everybody pings stuff.
Yeah.
It was an incredible system. We raved about it when it came out. But it came out by Respawn. We expect great things from Respawn. They made COD 4.
Yeah.
They made the first half... No, they made Modern Warfare 2 in the first half of Modern Warfare 3 or something like that. Something like that. They made both the Titanfalls and Apex Legends. If there was anyone that was going to come out with some amazing system, it was going to be them.
Yeah.
No one expected Sucker Punch to even for the game to be good.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's such a departure from things like Infamous.
Brand new thing when you first do it for the first time. You're not going to be amazing at it, surely, right?
The looting system is the best we've ever seen.
Yeah.
The graphics are incredible. Like, they changed so much. The wind. Can we talk about the wind?
Yes.
For a second, right?
Yes.
The way that's one of the things about the immersion. That's what. So
I love how this game is so good that we like, let's talk about the wind.
yeah.
No game would you ever talk about the wind.
Yeah. I love how if you just pause for a second, you forget which way you're going, and then you see like a couple of leaves flowing. And and if you didn't catch it, then you can swipe, and it gives you like the gusts.
And more of a powerful wind.
Yeah.
Also, they're saying how the revolutionary photo mode as well.
The photo mode was great.
Amazing. Like, you could actually have an
I mean,
animated photo
I didn't
mode.
do it, but I saw the guys on the Discord.
It was all of us, all of the bros watching, and the whole of Twitter. It just took over the world.
Show and Tell was lit up.
Yeah, Show and Tell
this.
channel in the Discord was amazing. I feel like we've talked a lot about Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah, I just want to wrap up one last thing.
Go ahead.
When it comes to like the combat and how smooth it is, I can't tell if I want to give it to Ghost of Tsushima or The Last of Us 2.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like both the combats are as good as each other, but one's guns and one's swords, and they do not compare.
Yeah. Let's talk about Last of Us 2 then.
Yeah.
Because we'll talk about the comparison with the combat as well. Last of Us Part 2 came out.
Yes, it did.
One of the most anticipated games of this year.
Oh, by far.
After The Last of Us that everybody just loved, and the story that we just loved, and the characters that we just loved.
I might say I was more awaiting that than Cyberpunk.
That's the thing. Because we knew some of the characters in The Last of Us Part 2. We already had a basis. Yeah. And with Cyberpunk, we had all these theories, but they were baseless theories.
Yeah. We knew Keanu was in it. That's cool.
Yeah. But that doesn't mean the rest of the game is going to be great.
We don't know. We don't know Johnny Silverhand. You and I don't know Johnny Silverhand. We know of him.
Not in the way that we know Joel. Not in the way we know Ellie.
Yeah.
So when this came, we was like, okay, this has to be good.
Yeah.
And it came out, the world split in half.
Yeah.
It was literally, oh my God, this is the best game from the best game ever.
Australia burned down in the beginning of the year. And then, what was it, March? This thing comes out and burns down the rest of the world.
Yes. The few people that were left over.
Yeah.
And then the other side of the world, the people just like, this game is awful.
Yeah.
It betrays us completely. It did this wrong. How could they do this? And a bunch of people saying they won't buy it, even though they never were going to buy it or anything like that.
And you and I loved it.
We both loved it.
Loved it.
It definitely took us down some roads that we didn't expect to go down, and there were some bits that we definitely were like, why would we do that?
We strongly disagreed with. I think there's 3 things we came out like 3.
Yeah, so we strongly disagreed with playing as Abby. We felt like, especially playing for so long, as Abby, was very strange, especially after seeing what she did to Ellie, to Joel, to everybody. It was like, what's the motivation here? Yeah. The other part was fighting Ellie as Abby.
Yeah.
I was
and also that she wins.
Yes.
Like, my beef with that is, regardless of, like, forget their physical differences, right? Because Abby's far bigger and stronger.
She's a tank.
She's a tank. And that's fine.
Yeah.
And I do, it does bug me, that character model a bit, but at least they go into it and stuff. But, okay. Yeah. Ellie's an apex predator. Yeah. Right? Ellie is one of the most badass people on the planet. And she's killed her way to Abby at this point. She's tracked you down over 1,000 miles, right? Killed everyone that was connected to this thing, including the dog, which I feel worse about the dog than the pregnant lady.
Not gonna lie, like, pregnant woman, that's really that's gonna affect Ellie. The dog!
Right.
No!
And what's worse, and this is one of the things that I thought they understood a lot about the game, was you bond with the dog when you're playing as Abby.
Yes, you do.
Ellie's and I mean it, an apex predator. Yeah. She's one of the most dangerous people you can bump into. One of them, right? And then she comes all the way to California to track her down again. Yeah. And murders her way through another, 2 other gangs of people. Like, Ellie is formidable.
This wasn't hard enough. I need to do it again.
Right. Ellie is one tough chick. Yeah. Right? And then you fight her, and we didn't really vibe with that. Like, I had no incentive. I let Abby die straight away. The very first thing, I'm like, yeah, Abby needs to go.
Yeah.
I wanted to see the death animations Ellie killing us.
I remember because I played it on stream the whole of the game, and when it came to the episode, the part where Abby is finding Ellie, I was like, I have no motivation here because my allegiance is to Ellie.
Yeah, I'm Ellie through and through.
Exactly. So why am I playing it? And I let her kill me multiple times, and I made a joke out of it. I'm like, haha, that's how it goes. And that's the end of The Last of Us, guys. Right. See you later. That's the end of it right
exactly.
there. Ellie got her revenge. Done.
Yeah. And then at the end of that, functionally, Abby wins the fight.
Yeah.
Which...
No one dies, but it's like...
Well, that's not true. It's not that no one dies, but she... And I like the way it goes down. I like that she has Dana? What's her name?
Dina?
Yeah,
so, Dina?
She has Dina and uses her as leverage
because
Abby isn't just this like muscle-bound meathead.
Yeah.
She's a tactical, thinking woman's warrior, right? So I did like that, but I felt like it should have been at least, at best, it should have been a draw.
Yeah,
Ellie is not someone to take lightly. With the stuff we've done as Ellie from age 14 to 22, like this is the baddest bitch there is, right? This chick can go up against Kratos.
Yeah.
Like she's up there with formidable people to fight, right? You don't fuck with Ellie. And Abby wins, and we didn't like that.
Yeah.
And then the ending.
Yes. She goes for revenge again.
Yep.
And we said, after a bit of discussion, we came up with a better way that we could have ended it. And we said that it would have, if it was a decision by the player to either kill Abby or to let her go, then at least whatever happens afterwards feels like it was your consequences for what you did.
Yeah.
Whereas the way it went out, it was like I had no choice. I couldn't do anything. Because the moral of the story that they were trying to pitch is that revenge is always bad.
Yeah.
And I'm like, cool, I understand that. But that means nothing if you're forcing me to do it.
Exactly.
If I choose to do it, then it's a whole different thing.
Yeah,
and if I had taken her life and it's like, oh, right there, and then like you said, like her fingers got bitten off and she couldn't play the guitar, she's lost a part of herself.
Exactly.
And lost a part of her memory to Joel, all for revenge.
Yeah.
And then it's like,
that's exactly it.
Maybe I shouldn't have done
We're
this.
forced into like forgiveness and mercy.
Yeah.
And the reality is, I would have played both. I would have gone through and killed Abby.
Yeah.
And ideally, because she loses her fingers anyway, and I don't like that.
Yeah.
So in the current ending, you let Abby go, but in the fight you lose 2 fingers.
Yeah, she bites it off or something.
Right.
Like that.
And then
Fucking savage, by the way.
as if she's gonna let her go, by the way, after everything she's done and bitten off her fingers, like in the heat of the moment. Anyway. And then the last scene is Ellie, and she's in the home that she had with Dina and the baby, but no one's there, and she picks up the guitar but can't play because she's missing her fingers. She cannot play the guitar anymore.
Yeah.
Which is her last connection to Joel.
Yeah.
And then if you'd have, we get that, but we also let Abby go.
Yeah.
At least Abby could be dead, and that could be the ending.
That's the thing.
And that's what's the saying? Like if you seek revenge, you should dig 2 graves. They say, right?
Yes.
And that's the thing. Where it's like, yes, she went after revenge, but was it worth it? She lost that last connection to Joel. She lost Dina and the baby.
Yeah, that would have been the question. But she still let her go.
Exactly.
Was the bigger person, played the better person, better card, and still lost everything.
And that would have been the thing.
Really
if you let Abby live, then your reward is that she keeps fingers, and in that same scene, she's sitting there alone, but then she can start playing that tune that Joel the first tune.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, bit of hope that maybe she can get Dina back and all that stuff, but we don't know. It's left up to
in the next in the next game, probably, maybe.
But that connection to Joel, she's playing the guitar, and like, at this point now, she will have found Abby twice, so she's okay with the decision of letting her go.
Yeah.
And she's managed to keep that connection with Joel. And then you have the so which ending do I prefer? And I think ultimately with that end scene, I think I would prefer the one with her having her fingers.
Yeah, it's it would because the way it ended as well, it was like everything is bad.
Yeah.
She's lost everything. She has no hope left.
It felt very hopeless and tragic.
Exactly. Whereas at least with that one thing, it would have satisfied all those people as well that were upset as well. They'd be like, we got the good ending.
Yeah.
She still has the connection to Joel, and then there's that amazing ending scene as well with Joel at the end.
What a good scene.
And
would that scene not have made that scene would have been so much more impactful if you know that Ellie can play the guitar or can't because of your decisions.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's about them patching things up, and she played the guitar there, but also her playing the guitar is such a big, the music that they share, that he teaches her, such a big part in that game.
Yeah.
It really bugged me.
That was those three things are the only things that bothered us.
Yeah,
but they are big. They are big things. I feel like though.
They're major, but
yeah.
I love that game. It's
still having experienced it, right?
Yeah,
still loved it.
And I feel like we have worded it poorly about how intense it is. It's not a happy game, right? No. But especially having that choice at the end, because I would say that there actually is this weird hopefulness in the first Last of Us game, which it's not so much that it's hopefulness, but like Joel literally burns the planet for Ellie.
Yeah.
He knows there's a strong potential for a cure, and he picks Ellie.
Yeah.
And the last thing he says to her is, "You can hate me, but I'm not sorry. I would do it again."
Yeah.
Right? He lives in this world of all of this suffering and all of these like functionally zombies, you know. And he's like, "I'm not sorry. I would do it again."
Yeah.
And nothing you can say would ever make me change my mind. And you can hate me, but you're alive to hate me, and I'm not sorry. Because ... I love you.
Yeah.
Right? You're my daughter.
And that's the thing. A lot of people there might be some people as well that were in the camp of, I didn't like The Last of Us and heard the stuff that we said and go, how can you still like it after that? It's because of things like that.
Yeah.
They managed to nail the relationship. And there's the scene with the science museum.
Oh my God.
My heart.
I nearly cried. And I'm a guy who, the Discord actually knows this. They've actually said, like, you're a psychopath. I know the last time I cried, because it was the day my dog died.
That's it.
So it's August 1st, 2018 is the last time I cried.
At the time before that, too far to remember.
My grandmother passed away.
Okay, all right.
In like 2011.
Wow, you actually shed a tear for your grandma. Wow.
Yeah. So I'm not really big into tears.
Yeah.
And
that almost got you.
That nearly got me. Like I was like welling up, and you know, it's like it's like if you were, you know, your cameras go under the water and the water's like that. Like, no, hold it. Yeah. So that stuff really chokes me up, actually. Like, I think a few people noticed when we watched The Boy and the Beast.
Yeah.
I love that father-son, father-child relationship shit. But dude, that science museum scene.
Yeah, it was perfect.
So I actually watched your stream up to that point and stopped watching there. And I was like,
sold.
I'm sold on the fact that they get this relationship. And whatever happens in the rest of the game, because we kind of knew a few things, I'd seen a bit. They understand this, which is the thing I'm actually invested in. I'm not really playing this for the zombie survival. Yeah. Right?
It may have been an element in the first one, but after knowing the story,
cool,
you're like, okay, the zombie stuff is not even a thing.
Could not care less about the infected, right? Although the Rat King is a great boss. Oh, what a good boss.
Jesus.
Scary as frick.
I was like, yo, we dying right here. This is where the game ends.
The first couple of times I fought that thing, I got that same glitch as you.
Which is a couple of weird, strange, like it grabs you, snaps you. It's so strange.
Yeah. And actually, same with the, what's that thing you find in that abandoned hotel? You know, it's the first time we see is not a boomer, but you know, there's a couple new enemies, a couple new infected things.
Yeah, they're like the bigger ones, right? Yeah, I know what you mean, but I don't remember their names.
Yeah. So I love that they made the new enemies. The combat's so smooth, and they maintained, or I'd actually say they increased our understanding of their relationship, especially that at the end, and that's what makes it such a tragic story, is because they were getting things back on track. Yeah. So I love it. I absolutely love it, and I think we've done a really poor job of the words that we've picked, saying how intense it is and how emotionally draining it is, because.
Well, one thing that will probably might convey. So, do you want to finish?
No.
I was saying one thing that might convey that is that, despite, I mean, can you think of a more shocking, horrifying, gasping, sort of like stopping you dead where you are, stopping your heart, stopping your breath moment than when Joel got hit by that tire iron, or what was it? It was golf club. Sorry. Yeah. Can you think of a moment that has taken your breath away in gaming like that?
Do you know the last one?
Go on.
Also involved Joel and Sarah.
Yes. That was the only other time.
2013, I think it is, where I'm 10 minutes into this game because it's a new PS exclusive and I'm really keen to play it. And zombies, because I've been playing Nazi zombies with my boys. I could do another zombie game.
Zombies, come on!
And then...
out of nowhere.
Sarah gets gutted. And also, by the way she dies,
Yeah.
it's so good is not the right word, but that scene is so like impactful.
Yeah.
And here's a couple of things about The Last of Us. This is why we love Joel, because Joel's still wearing the watch. It goes 22 years later, I think it says, right?
Yeah.
And we wake up and it's a panning shot of Joel sleeping, I think it is.
Yeah.
And there's that watch he was given on his birthday. And it's cracked. And it doesn't work.
Still wearing it though.
And it's on his wrist.
Fuck, man.
And that's Joel. And that's why we love him. And that's why it meant something when he was taken away.
Yeah.
And then, look, Revenge is a great story. It's an archetypal story.
Yeah.
Not as good as the father-child dynamic thing,
Yeah.
right? But it's, it's in the top 5 of story motives.
Yeah.
And if I want to get revenge on anyone, like, look, the Mongols invade Tsushima. Okay, they're an enemy to fight.
Yeah.
Someone kills Joel.
Oh boy. Well, we're burning this place down, boys. Here we go.
like some of the stuff you do in Ghost of Tsushima, like a lot of people say, yeah, that's unreasonable. Trekking 1,000 miles to murder your way through an entire gang of people, dude, you fricked with Joel.
It's like the John Wick thing, right?
Yeah,
it's like, you killed the dog. Well, shit, I see how this whole movie could unfold.
And some people are like, oh, all of that for a dog. Like, all of that for a dog.
It's like coming at the end. So why is he like killing everybody? It's like they murdered his dog.
Oh. Well,
yeah, that's
enough.
a mistake.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Has he used any piano wire yet? No, but he did this thing with a pencil.
Magic trick, disappeared.
Yeah.
So that's The Last of Us.
Yeah.
Really, really good game. It's a game like none other, I feel like.
I feel like there aren't many games this year, or just in general, that would have us talking the way we're talking about Ghost of Tsushima and The Last of Us.
I agree.
And as much as I am genuinely loving Cyberpunk, and I haven't finished it, so I'm not going to say like where I put it yet, because I don't know the story, and it's about the story.
Yeah.
I think it's got to be one of those two for me for game of this year. And I feel like, also in fairness, Cyberpunk is kind of a game of next year anyway. It's come out so late. It's not really going to be ready till January.
I was going to say as well, because and this is your fault, CDPR.
I thought you were talking about me. I was like, well, hold on a minute.
Your fault,
wait a second.
bitch. You broke the game. When the game is fully patched out and fully ready the way it should have been, then I think we'll play it again.
Yeah.
And we'll be like, wow, okay, this is something. Hopefully.
I think our second playthrough of the game, because I don't know about you, but I am loving it. Mm-hmm. I'm keen to play it an entirely different way.
Yeah, me too.
And because I've been making my decisions. So, I had that thing with Royce where I killed him.
Yes.
Because I couldn't pick the other options.
Yeah, you had your thing just wouldn't move. Yeah, you had the bug.
It was exactly the option I wanted. I wanted to get into a gunfight with these guys. That's how I'm playing this guy. My guy is a shoot first, ask questions later kind of guy.
Yeah.
I want to play a game where I play as like a more, T-Bug.
T-Bug, the Netrunner.
First of all, I thought she was going to be a romanceable option. I hope she comes back in later. I can't remember what happens to her, but
I might story shit, but I don't want to talk spoilers.
So first of all, I actually dig the bald head look on her. I think there's something about, is it black or mixed race, whatever she is.
That's why I'm shaving my head, boys. That's why I'm shaving my head.
But she pulls it off so well.
Yeah.
And I dug her vibe of like, I'm this badass netrunner and I'm sassy, but I can be sassy because, I'm not really ever going to be in a room with you.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter how badass you are because I'm going to hack you and kill you before you get here, kind of sassy, like very Yennefer Triss sassiness.
Right.
So I'm hoping we get something with her. But I'm looking forward to playing as like a netrunner and having different conversations because they're netrunner-y and finding out what's behind all these doors. Because my guy has like, it may even be negative to what it is at the character creation screen. There's stuff that I think you're supposed to be able to open that he can't open.
He just can't open
I think he may have.
You're really favoured in like one specific attribute, right?
I'm all about murking people with my guns and stuff.
So reflexes are to the top.
Oh, dude, I think I'm level 18 and my reflex is like 15 and my strength is 8 or 9. Like, it really went hard one way.
It's like your strength is not too bad, your reflex not too bad. Tech ability, 1. You look at a smartphone and you're like, what is this?
It's bad, yeah. Put in your password. It's uncrackable, boys.
I'm sorry, guys.
No, it's your password. Yeah, uncrackable.
Guys, it's impossible, right, guys? All right. Doom Eternal. is another game that came out.
Ton of fun.
Very, very fun.
Yeah.
We knew like Doom is a very classic game and
Yeah.
whatnot, where
It's
just
the classic game.
exactly the game where you're just gonna go around, you're shooting. That's why people say mindless shooter, because it is just going around, you're killing people with an awesome soundtrack. This one had great visuals. It built upon Doom 2016, which was a great game in itself.
So good. I really enjoyed that.
And is loved by a lot of people in our community, especially Corwin. Corwin really loves
He
Doom
raves about
Eternal.
those games, yeah.
He loves it. He played the new DLC as well that came out. He said that's fantastic.
I need to play that.
It's in a lot of people's Game of the Year discussion.
Oh, it should be in the discussion. I don't think it wins, and that's not its fault. It's not to say it's not good, but just we feel like other games spoke to us more.
There's things that this wins in that other games don't.
Like if the list was like Doom Eternal, AC Valhalla, Ori, Fall Guys, Watch Dogs Legion, Marvel Avengers, if that was the list, Doom wins all day long.
Yeah.
But like, I feel like Doom is really unlucky as to where it came out, the year it came out in, because like I want to give it to Doom for the score, except both The Last of Us and Ghost of Tsushima, their scores are so good, so good, and that is not to say Doom Eternal has anything wrong, because it's also so different. It's such a different game.
It's a completely different thing. The rock music in that and where it comes,
like,
when you're fighting and whatnot.
I think we would have a real hard time, especially for things like, let's try and make it as even as possible, because The Last of Us slaps the shit out of Ghost of Tsushima for story and direction, in my opinion. But like combat and music, I cannot really tell the difference between Ghost of Tsushima and The Last of Us. They're so close.
Yeah.
They're so close. They're so good. And Doom is there, but it's so different from both of those games. And my attention, because of the story, is on them. That I feel like Doom is getting unfairly left out, but the soundtrack is incredible. Absolutely incredible. And can we take a minute and just say how like incredible it is that this game runs the way it ran across all the consoles?
That's actually a technical marvel.
Marvel.
It's fantastic. I don't know how they managed to do it.
Because everybody else made
wizards.
Everybody else made exclusives.
Yeah.
Right? The Last of Us, Ghost of Tsushima, Final Fantasy, they're all exclusives. And so they're designed specifically to run on this one thing.
Exactly. When you have one thing to worry about, you can really fine-tune it down and get the best out of it.
And, I mean...
Doom runs like that on everything.
On everything. And don't get me wrong, it's not like the most complicated game. I understand that. It's not the longest, doesn't have the most in-depth for all this stuff. I get it.
It's not an open-world RPG or anything like that.
And if you were making an open-world RPG and you would say, like, I don't know, $1 billion corporation, you'd expect it to run flawlessly on at least one or two things.
You'd expect, right?
But these guys...
We're digging out a game that we actually really enjoy.
I really love it. But I would go as far as saying it's kind of a technical marvel.
Yeah.
Because I would go out and say, I think if you ported Ghost to anything else, it would have issues. More issues than Doom had on. Doom was flawless. It just came out. Yeah. And it worked. And my biggest beef with that freaking game was that the Marauder has a dog and you don't.
Mate.
That is actually my only beef. We should have a grenade that you throw and out comes your spirit dog.
Dog.
We're following that green spirit dog all the way through. You should have a grenade where it comes out and beefs things out.
That was the thing that got me. That was the final straw. Because everyone on Twitter was like, oh, the Marauder's too hard. Corwin was saying, oh, the Marauder's not too hard. You just got to do this, you got to do that, and then you're fine. Whatever, Corwin. Yeah. I was pissed because I was like, okay, look, all right, the Marauder comes out, he's a big guy, he's powerful, he's got a huge axe, an axe that can project like this light red thing to come at you.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, he's really fast. If you're at a distance, if you're close, then he's got a shotgun that can pull out instantly and shoot you. Yeah. If you try to attack him at any point, he's got a shield that pops up immediately and blocks it. Yeah. And then on top of that, he can zip across to you and hit you. And he has a goddamn spirit dog that comes out to attack you. And then on top of that, you don't get a spirit dog. I was like, when does it end?
It's worse.
When does it end?
Because not only do you not get a spirit dog, you've been following a spirit dog that is interested in you and guiding you.
But doesn't want to help you out. Bullshit.
Also, I will say my other beef with the Marauder is I wish I'd understood earlier on that he was like a reoccurring boss fight.
Yeah.
The first time I fought him, it felt kind of like he was the first time you fight him is in that room.
Yeah.
But it kind of feels like he's just a tough enemy.
Yeah.
And not like this is a boss fight. And then he appears a couple more times and I always treated him like he was a tougher enemy.
Yes.
And if I treated him like he was a boss fight every single time, probably would have gone better.
Yeah.
Because he is tough. But like Corwin says, that there are a couple of strategies once you notice the things and realize
The patterns on when to hit.
Right. He's not insanely tough, but he is, I would say he is boss fight level.
Yeah.
Or like small boss fight. And if I'd have known that straight away, I may have taken those fights more seriously or like in a boss fight, you understand that you can't just play the game the way you want. In a normal level, you just run around and you're messing around and killing things however you want. In a boss fight, you're like, I'm going to have to use cover. I'm going to have to use this grenade and weaken him. I can't just run around with the one gun I like, doing the one thing I like.
Yeah.
Right? And I was kind of doing that with the Marauder and I got wrecked.
Get owned every time. That is the only other game that I could think about talking about in the Game of the Year discussion, I feel like for us, is obviously Marvel's Avengers. Obviously, that's a fantastic game.
Not Flight Simulator?
No, I don't think that even comes close to Marvel Avengers, really.
True.
That game is just a masterpiece right there.
Absolutely.
But shall we say what our Game of the Year is then, if we've done our discussions
Go on,
on
you
what's
go
going
first.
on?
Let's hear it. So I think, let me guess, yours is AC Valhalla.
That's the guys.
I
the
know you
AC
too well.
community.
I
I'm
know
here
you too
representing
well.
you guys. The number one AC YouTuber, the new AC YouTuber on the scene.
That's right. I know you too well.
No. As we've been discussing it, it's kind of I've leaned a little bit more to another side.
Okay.
So it's a toss up between Ghost of Tsushima and The Last of Us Part 2.
Yeah. Same.
And I was previously heavy on Last of Us Part 2.
Yeah.
It's come closer.
Okay.
But I still do think The Last of Us Part 2 is my Game of the Year. It's very close between the Ghost of Tsushima because I mean, it brought all of it back talking about it. And I said how it didn't have a right to be this good. Their first game to come out of Cyberpunk in this brand new setting.
It should not have been that good. It shouldn't have been that close.
Right?
That looks like, The Last of Us 2.
Yeah.
It has no right to be that good. There's no, especially from the departure. These guys made Infamous.
I was going to say.
And you can play that, by the way, if you've got a PlayStation, PS Plus Collection, Infamous Second Son, relatively short stories. I mean, it's not amazing.
It's fun, though.
It's fun. Yeah. It's fun. And
Katie played it recently. It was great.
It is a great game, and it's just fun, and there's no real risk in it. It's not like Last of Us. It's not like Ghost of Tsushima. It's not like The Fate of a Country or Joel's, getting revenge for Joel. It's just you get some special powers and you go around and frick with people that deserve it, right?
Yeah. And it's Troy Baker.
And it's Troy Baker. He voices everybody.
Yeah.
Some cool, interesting powers in there. Like, is it Flit? What's her name?
Fetch.
Fetch. I always
You
do
always say
that.
Fleck.
And her power is Flit. I think it's called.
Yeah,
it's
I don't know
the
what it's
neon.
called,
The
actually.
neon power, I think, is flitting. Is what they say.
Okay. I don't remember the name for the thing.
But it's really good fun, and all the powers are so different, and they let you do different things.
But it's like with Last of Us Part 2, they had made Uncharted.
Yeah.
Uncharted was fantastic. It was action. There was shooting involved.
That's the thing.
And then they went to Last of Us. It was like, it's not that far of a departure.
That's the thing. These guys made Uncharted. They made Last of Us. They made more Uncharted. Then they made Last of Us Part 2.
Yeah.
Fair enough. It's Naughty Dog.
It makes sense.
Okay. They're the name for this style of game.
Yeah.
And then Infamous Second Son guys, we're going to make a samurai game.
It's like completely different thing. We're going to go from shooting powers and no real threat, nothing really, no weight of anything on you. Then all of a sudden to this super
to
deep...
the Mongol invasion of Japan.
Mongol invasion of Japan, talking about family, honor system, talking about being authentic to Japan. Complete departure.
And then come out with a free update for the online stuff. Which is
we
great.
didn't even talk about that.
We forgot about Legends, didn't we?
How did that come out of nowhere and just...
and it's so good.
Not necessarily rival, but take all the best elements of like the best MMOs like Destiny and stuff like that.
Oh,
and just go,
for sure.
And go, okay, we're just chucking that in for free in an update there.
My only complaint, genuinely, and I've been I'm this close to doing this is day one of tweeting you till you make the thing.
Every day. Yeah. This is day 42.
Right, of tweeting Sucker Punch until they make a 1v1 duels in the Legends mode. All I need is a leaderboard. They have all of these iconic places in the game. You just load that in with me and somebody else. And it can be up to them. They can choose whether or not they allow us, like all the special moves, like the Dance of Wrath and
the Lightning Strike and stuff like that. Yeah.
They can choose if we have to pick like the Legends classes, whatever they want. It could just be you play as Jin Sakai, you get everything. You play as Jin Sakai, and all you can do is the regular sword stuff. But I want 1v1 duels and a leaderboard. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
And this is the reason why.
But other than that, incredible.
Yeah. And this is the reason why it's so close for me, because
That
all of that
update's
was
insane.
so fantastic. It
Yeah.
was so great. It was such a great story, such a great game, such a great departure from the infamous franchise. But also The Last of Us Part 2 made me feel things, and it's done something that gaming has never done in a way that, like, people see gaming as, like, there are still people out there, not a lot less now, but there are people out there still that see gaming as just a stupid little thing that kids do on the side and whatnot.
Yeah.
Whereas we know for a fact that people like us, the true gamers, know that this is the best form of entertainment.
Yeah,
And
it's like actors. Like Ryan Reynolds is one of the few guys that started in like a comedy a skit show.
TV show,
Yeah, and then worked his way into like movies.
Yeah.
It's kind of like you're either a movie guy or a TV guy. If you do movies, you don't do TV. If you do TV, you can't really break into movies, and it's very tiered. Movies is above TV.
Yeah.
And gaming is like way down low.
That's
and the reality is that's not the case at all. And it's just...
And this, one of the Last of Us Part 2, in my opinion, would be a case that you could give to people to legitimize it in their eyes why gaming is, because it's a movie through and through. You could watch this thing.
Yeah, you could absolutely just watch the cutscenes.
Exactly.
Completely, you could.
And you'd be like, wow, this is actually a really good movie. Oh, wait, it's not a movie.
Yeah. It's
There
not a
you go.
digital movie like Avatar.
Yeah.
It's actually a thing where, oh, you got to play this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the reason why I think it's Game of the Year. How about yourself, my bro?
I'm going to surprise you
Surprise me, go on.
by doing the thing you expect the most and also giving it to Last of Us 2.
Oh my god! Oh, that came out of nowhere.
I will say,
Go on.
I will say, for a lot of things, they're dead even.
Yeah.
Like the scores, setting aside Ellie playing music in the game, because that's
something else. That's
kind of so
performance,
different.
that is, in my
well,
opinion.
so interesting, because you have to perform it and then it takes the rest of the song.
Yeah.
For mini games, if you consider that mini games, I'm gonna say they're even, because those bamboo strikes in
That was cool.
they were really fun.
Yeah.
And a couple of them were
Oh,
actually
God damn it.
challenging. Yeah. They were good fun. So on a lot of things, they're dead even. I will say that the Legends update is incredible, and I would be much more tempted. Like, it would be a lot closer if they had done the 1v1 duels, but that happens to be something I desperately want. And there's all these little touch in Ghost of Tsushima as well. I'm just defending Ghost of Tsushima. Like, it is closer than anyone realizes. Like, the Kurosawa mode, awesome.
Yeah, great touch.
The camera mode, incredible.
Being able to play it all in Japanese as well is fantastic.
That's another thing. The fact that it came out with that higher quality in every language.
Yeah. Not half-assed. They got some decent, like you said, the best Japanese voice actor for like anime at the moment. So.
Yeah, so who also plays the swordsman. That's the big deal. Man, was that game good?
Yeah.
But, and it's the relationship with Joel and Ellie that wins, right? Not so much the game. The game is very good, right? Oh, they are so close.
Yeah.
But because of Joel and Ellie, I have to give it to The Last of Us.
That's where your heart is.
And it's the only time in gaming, and I've played games and loved them. Like Final Fantasy IX, loved that game. But it never... Actually, that's not true. It's tore me up a couple of times with... If anybody knows the game, the stuff with Vivi tore me up.
I don't know this. I'm nodding.
Yeah, it's really touching. Also kind of like, what is my existence kind of stuff, and who's my father kind of stuff.
Right.
But this is the only game that's made me feel that intensely about anything, as well as being so good in so many different ways. Just so many conflicting emotions at such a high intensity. And I feel so a lot of people said, oh, well, you said the game makes you feel really bad. That's not good. But dude, tons of people love horror movies. Do you like being afraid? Well, for this movie, kind of, yeah. Right? So in that, try and view it in the sense of talking about why you enjoy horror movies.
Yeah.
Right? Because they make you feel creepy and scared and stuff. But that is the reason you're doing it. And in the same way, it is very emotionally impactful, but I'm coming into it for that kind of thing. It's this father's daughter story, and the father gets murdered.
Yeah.
That's that's a really impactful thing, and it's kind of draining.
Yeah.
And I would like to play it again, but I need some time still.
That's the thing. I can't. Just thinking about it is so emotionally draining. I'm glad I got to experience it. It's like it's
a tough one to.
It's like if the Avengers movie, you know, the Infinity War and Endgame, if they made one version of that where it's just all together, it would be like a really long movie.
If it was a 4-hour Lord of the Rings length movie that covers the whole thing, it would be a bit too much.
You'd be like, I'm glad I watched this. I can't watch this again, but I needed to see it.
Yes.
And I'm better off that I have seen it.
Yes.
And I love it. It's done such great things, but I'm not going to do it again.
Yeah, I'll buy the steel case, but I'm not going to watch it again.
Exactly.
And I do kind of feel that same way. Yeah. And it's not that I don't want to experience it again, but it is very emotionally taxing, and it also takes a long time to play. It's about a 30-hour game.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a long game. It was a long game.
I blasted through it, and I think it was 30 to 35 hours.
Some games need to respect your time as well. These guys are talking about AC Valhalla as well. They're like, oh, it's like a 70-hour game. You have no right to ask that much time from me. You're an Assassin's Creed.
I feel like AC is, and I think from what I understand, it's unreasonably long. If you just want to mainline it, it still takes too long, I think is the thing. But if I was going to invest that much time into a game, I actually haven't played Red Dead, and I kind of would like to, right? And it's not, I don't absolutely love The Last of Us. I'm really conflicted. My top 3 games, you know, we said that you squint and they're on the same level, and these games
doing the Tobey Maguire meme, is that
right? Exactly. And realistically, I love The Witcher. I really love it. And I love the relationship. Again, there's this theme of like the father-child thing. The thing that made me really fall in love with The Witcher is that scene where Geralt finds Ciri. Yeah. Right? There's just something about that. Especially, by the way, for a guy that had his emotions burned out by magic, which is a big deal. Like, people forget that in this scene, where you can just tell. And he does react a bit. His emotions are burned away by magic, and he reacts that much in this scene.
The bond must be so strong.
Right, exactly. And just, I admire a game that's willing to use silence. Like, he just sits there quietly with his world torn apart, right? It's the reverse Ellie thing, right? Joel burns the world down for his kid, and Geralt finds his kid dead, and the world has burned down because of that, right? Like, he just has nothing to do. Also, have you seen what happens in the bad ending?
No.
Where Ciri, like, is presumed dead, let's say that.
Yeah, okay.
Do you want to know? I feel like you should watch it.
Let me watch it. I'll have a look up at YouTube and one of the different endings. Yeah. Because I haven't actually seen all the endings.
Yeah, so I've got the good and the middle ending, playing it through, and I've never had the courage to experience the bad ending. I've seen it, I know what happens, but I just couldn't bring myself to do it in game.
After being so invested in a playthrough.
Yeah.
Damn. So both of us choosing The Last of Us Part 2. I guess that's the True Gamer Podcast official game of the year.
Ghost of Tsushima is so good.
Yes.
And I know...
Commiserations.
Yeah. Like, it's so close. And I know, look, honorable mention, did Persona come out this year or last year? Last year, right?
I think it was last year, yeah.
But like Final Fantasy VII probably deserves to be absolutely in the discussion.
Yeah.
I think for a lot of people, it's going to take Game of the Year.
Yeah.
And there's
for Zahir, because that's the only game he plays.
Of course, for Zahir.
Yeah, he'll only play that game.
I'm sure there's plenty of people that would play it. I'm sure if you played it, you might be like, actually, this was a really great game. We should have spent an hour talking about it. But for me, I've played Final Fantasy VII. I know the story, I know the characters, and it's great.
Yeah.
It's not
Last of Us level.
Or Ghost of Tsushima. God, how do you say this properly?
Besides, it's a weeb game. No one likes those games anyway. Well,
could you imagine playing as like a guy with a sword for like 40 hours running around like ancient Japan?
Pah! Or even playing as a guy with a machine gun for an arm.
Right.
And then a woman that throws flowers but is insanely gorgeous for some reason.
Which one is that? Is that Tifa or Aerith?
Yeah. Tifa as well.
I will say, because I do think you should play it. Because have you played any Final Fantasy games?
All I've played is that demo of any Final Fantasy ever.
I think
they don't make sense to me from outside perspective. I'm like, so what's going on?
I think you should play it. The newer generation of Final Fantasy games is much more accessible for like guys that haven't played them before.
Yeah.
Whereas before it's like you have to jump in at the deep end kind of deal. So I think 7's a great intro into it. I think you should play it. All I will say for advice, because I think it follows fairly along, is that when you're doing your party composition, don't make Aerith your only healer, because I think it's about halfway through she leaves the party.
Right.
So
she's angry with me.
The first time was it me and my brother? One of us played it, and she was like our main healer, and she leaves, and you have no healers leveled up.
Whoa!
You can't win. At least in the original, you can't win without a healer, right? And we had no healer, so make sure you've leveled up like a secondary healer that can at least take her place, because she leaves the party. And I can't remember how long it's for, but she leaves the party. That's all I'm gonna say.
That's really tough, because I swear, like, from the outside perspective, from me, the simping for Aerith was pretty hardcore.
She's girl next door hot, man.
So
actually, kind of so is Tifa, but
so I was gonna say I've heard that about Tifa as well. So I'm like, so everyone's probably like, oh, I'm gonna make her the best. She's gonna be always, whoa, where you going, babe? Where you going? Shit, what's going on?
It's funny because my personal preference for Final Fantasy games is FF9. I genuinely think that's the best Final Fantasy game they've ever made, and the crush in that is Dagger. Is her name?
Terrible.
It's totally made up.
Oh, okay. Is it a made-up name?
Well, in the game, it's totally made up.
Okay.
Like, she's literally a princess who runs away, and you kidnap her, and she decides to kind of go on this adventure, but you can't call her Princess Garnet the whole time.
Yeah.
So they call her a Dagger, right? And they change her hair, and she goes from being this princess, this unattainable object, to very much the girl next door.
Standard.
And it's this really incredible character change and growth and stuff, even though it's all in text and these weird little speech bubbles.
I was gonna say, because it's not like now, is it?
But there's a few cutscenes, again with no audio. It's just silent cutscenes with music.
Silent movie.
That you learn so much about the characters and stuff.
Damn.
Anyway, Game of the Year.
Game of
Ghost
the Year.
of Tsushima is not it.
It's not it.
But we both really loved that game.
Yes, we do.
The Last of Us 2 just edged it, man.
Yes.
And actually, it didn't just edge it. The story's so good.
It is so good. True Gamer Podcast officially crowns The Last of Us Part 2 our Game of the Year.
And you know that was 100% bought. And if you would like to buy Game of the Year 2021...
Amazon affiliate links in the description.
Do you know what's really annoying is I kept forgetting to mention on all the other podcasts that as it's coming up to Christmas, we do have affiliate links. There are guys that aren't on the Patreon or can't do it, but would like to support us. And
that's another way.
Yeah, you can. But it's going to be... When does this go up? Christmas Eve or Christmas Day?
Christmas Eve. If you're doing something the night of Christmas Eve, which you're definitely not doing.
The thing is, look, I meant to say it, but I'd forgotten. By the time it got to a point where I was remembering to say use our affiliate links, if you want to support us, it sounds really shilly, but I was trying to say it as a way of saying, if you're doing this anyway and you'd like it, some of the money, and it's not a lot, but some of it to come to us instead of all of it going to Amazon, the giant corporation. Jeff Bezos. Which if Cyberpunk has taught you anything...
don't trust big corporations.
Jeff Bezos is the Saburo Arasaka of the world, basically.
He
right?
is.
A little bit could come to us because it was stuff you were doing anyway. But at this point, you've probably done all your shopping, so never mind. But there's just the thing.
Let me read out some...
subscribe, favorite, patreon.com/conversations.
All the YouTuber shill stuff that you're accustomed to.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some of the guys, what they thought about.
Yeah.
I'm going to first go through the Game of the Year poll that I took. This is from all of our guys watching on the Discord server and on Patreon and on Twitter and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I put it out there. The nominees were Doom Eternal, Ghost of Tsushima, Last of Us Part 2, Spider-Man Miles Morales, Cyberpunk 2077, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Animal Crossing New Horizons, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and Fall Guys.
That's actually a really good list.
It's actually a really decent list.
I'm glad you put both Fall Guys and Animal Crossing in there because it's not just our list.
Exactly, because I don't think Fall Guys deserves for the top of the list. Animal Crossing New Horizons is other people's Game of the Year question, but not ours, so it's fair. It's fair.
Absolutely. I'm glad you said that.
In third place, it's quite amazing because it only came out 13 days ago, Cyberpunk 2077.
Really?
At 19.4%.
Because what's interesting to me there is both of us are loving the game.
Yep.
And I don't want to put words in your mouth, but for me, I don't think it's appropriate to put it in this list.
not game of the year yet.
Right, because we haven't had any time to play it.
People are saying that the ending is quite nice, but I feel like it's too soon to judge, right? Now,
I'm nowhere near the end.
Exactly.
I'm barely at the start.
We'll have to have a discussion when we complete this again. Obviously,
Yeah.
we're going to do our episode where once we've completed the game, full spoiler review of Cyberpunk 2077. For me, it will probably be early January. For you, sometime 2022.
I was just trying to figure it out. I won't be ready by Conversations Day.
There we go. Don't worry about it. When that's done, we'll get it done together.
Yeah.
In second place,
Yes.
with 25% of the votes,
Okay.
Ghost of Tsushima. And in first place with 30.6, Last of Us Part 2.
Cool.
So the gamers have spoken. I watched this poll as it went, and it very much fluctuated between those two because just like us, it could either of them are really, really good. And just like us, Last of Us Part 2 is just a hair ahead.
Do you know what's interesting as well is there's about a 5% gap between the things.
Yeah.
And if I had to really boil it down, I think that's about the difference between Ghost of Tsushima and The Last of Us.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's not a lot. It's just a few things like the story investment, and how well that is carried out, which is not to say, because some people said like Ghost of the Year should win, Ghost of Tsushima should win Game Direction of the Year, right? Mm-hmm. That is different to saying the way the story progresses, because what it has as a story is directed incredibly well. I just feel like the story is a little bit lacking in certain areas, right? But its direction and the way you're taken through it and the way it's presented to you, incredible.
Flawless, yeah.
Fantastic. But so is The Last of Us.
Yeah.
Now there is one question I want to ask you,
Ooh.
which I think we may have touched on in personal discussions.
Go on.
Two of those games that were in our top three had, actually all of them got a lot of hate.
Yes.
But Ghost of Tsushima got hate from people whose opinion doesn't matter, like the SJW retards, right?
Yeah.
The other two both got flamed on the internet.
Yes.
I would like to know which of those two, which do you feel the hate that it got is more deserving?
Out of Cyberpunk and Last of Us Part 2.
And then, what do you think, just pluck the number out of the air, is the overlap of the people that complained about both those games? Like in a percentage, what do you think?
So I feel like Cyberpunk's one is more deserving because of because they did do bad stuff.
But they didn't kill Joel.
Exactly.
So, do you see what I mean?
I feel like with Last of Us Part 2, it got to that point where Joel died and people were like, nah, drop the controller. I'm out of here. Don't care about anything else. I don't want to know about anything else. That is a line you don't cross. You've crossed it. I'm not forgiving you. And then afterwards, if they played the rest of the game, most of those people didn't. Yeah. If they played the rest of the game, they were like, well, now I look like an idiot if I say that I like it. I'm not going to go back on my word. Yeah. Whereas the people who are playing Cyberpunk, they're like, this is a buggy mess. I told you not to trust a big company, and big companies did screw them.
I mean, Cyberpunk is a game about not trusting big companies.
Exactly. Yeah. Irony. So that happened, and at least we're in the middle bit now where it hasn't been fixed. So it's like they're kind of justified. Now the overlap. Yeah. The overlap has to be nearly exactly on it, because
it's like Venn diagrams. You can see in this section is the thing, but for this it's like which is the barrier on the outside.
It's like I can't see. Are they two circles there? Because these
corporate needs you to tell the difference between these two. It's the same thing.
Exactly the same. These people want to complain about stuff, and I feel like they were ready to complain, especially because it's like the Apple thing. People who hate Apple want to hate the biggest guy. Yeah. And this Cyberpunk was going to be the biggest game. Yeah. And it was already like when I bought my collector's edition, when I bought the chair, when I bought my posters, people were like, this game is probably going to suck. And I'm like, why are you saying, what makes you think that? Because there was no evidence leading up to it that anything was going to be wrong. Yeah. And then it happened, right? And people are like, it's just those people, they just want to hate everything. Sure. So it's like that.
I actually do agree with you. Yeah. I think, the difference in the hate up front is that for The Last of Us 2, people didn't like decisions made in the game, but the game ran fine. Flawlessly, I would actually say. On my knackered day of release PS4.
Still, yeah.
I think I had two, and I wouldn't even call them bugs. Like I had a texture pop once, and then this one thing where the camera angle went inside a wall, You know, like I was panning and it went into a wall once. Like, as far as I can remember, that was it.
That's basically nothing.
Right,
yeah.
so the game ran flawlessly, and Cyberpunk, it doesn't run flawlessly.
Not at
So, so like with The Last of Us, it was a problem about the way the game went, not liking the decisions the game made. But
Yeah.
with Cyberpunk, I think it more fair to say like this thing doesn't run.
It's a bit broken in places, and
Right.
stuff like that.
So yeah, I totally agree, and I also agree that the loudest people. Actually, this is the podcast. How many copies did it sell? Do we have the? Just so I'm sure, because I saw you tweet. Is that the total sold, or is that including refunds?
That's so that's including most refunds, not all
Most
refunds.
Okay.
It's as of like December 20th or something like that.
Yeah.
Including most refunds that they've had to do now, CDPR, they've sold 13 million copies of Cyberpunk 2077.
That's huge.
And I put it out on Twitter as well, which I'll find just here for you guys.
That's huge.
That's a massive number. I think that's like Call of Duty numbers.
Yeah.
And Call of Duty every year sells record numbers and whatnot. Let me see. Better than PS5 Fiasco. Is this it? Nope, that's not right.
For perspective,
Yeah.
God of War, I believe this is up to date, has sold 12 million copies.
Damn. That's insane. Is that up to date? I'm not sure.
I don't know.
You're looking at it now like you're questioning it.
This is so from Wikipedia.
Okay.
But let me see when it was last updated.
Does it say? God of War sales.
Anyway, there was a point with God of War which
I know recently they said, oh no, sorry, estimated to sell around 20 million.
God of War.
God of War.
So the fact, so it's done more than half in a couple of weeks. Plus, it's broken. That's including. I mean, this game is
Yeah.
enormous.
That's
enormous. We did say, had this game been working on at least, let's say, PS4 Pros and above, and relatively well done,
Yeah.
this could potentially have been the biggest media event ever.
Yeah, they teed themselves up to be that way.
Yeah.
And I put out on Twitter, I said, well, shit, so does that mean that the majority of people are not the ones that are experiencing bugs? Because the people that have bugs probably speaking the loudest, whereas everyone else is just playing? Or does that mean that a lot of people are willing to stick it out and kind of trust CDPR to turn this ship around?
That's where I am.
And that's where I am, exactly.
Yeah.
A lot of people are saying either they're playing it on PC or they're playing it on PS5, where they're saying their issues are not really game breaking, not enough to tell them to go away.
Most of mine are mildly inconveniencing.
Exactly. There are some people out there that say, I can't be asked to go to the store to get a refund.
Yeah.
And there was a good point by, I think it was, James. He says, not James Lasers guy, he's too dumb to say anything
He's a
normal.
loser.
Another James, he goes, I decided to keep my copy and wait until it's playable. Most people aren't aware. Sorry, it was Adita. Adita said, I think that most people aren't aware that the refund portal exists.
Yeah.
We have our fingers on the pulse of gaming, so we know about this stuff.
Yeah.
Ordinary person bought the game, don't know what to do. They to whatever it is, Smith's Toys won't take it back because it's open now. That's it.
I suspect that those people of the refunding guys are going to actually be in the best spot.
Yeah.
You and I believe that by the January patch, this game's going to be functional.
Yeah.
And probably by February, it's going to be incredible.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what happened with Battlefront 2, by the way. We are huge fans of that game.
Mm-hmm.
And despite the fact that EA tried to... Was it EA? Yeah, it was EA. Tried to literally rape us out the gate. And that caused the game to not work for 6 to 9 months. We put a lot of time on it. We really enjoyed it. It was a fun time.
Yeah.
And it ended up amazing. And we are in the camp that CDPR are going to make this game pretty much... Look, there's always going to be glitches. There are glitches and everything, right?
Especially in an open world RPG game. There's going to be
you're asking for problems. But by February, so it's unfortunate where it's come out in the biggest holiday of the year for everybody.
Yep.
But so pretend that wasn't the case. 1.5 to 2 months after release, the game's going to be, relatively speaking, fully fixed. Tons of fun. And I think the guys that just didn't know what to do with the game and couldn't return it, who stuck it in a drawer, in 2 months' time, they'll be on Reddit or Facebook or YouTube and hear that it's great, load it back up again, and be like, hey, why did I stop playing this again? Forgetting that it was a buggy mess.
Yeah.
And be like, damn, I'm glad they fixed this, and it's going to be great.
Yeah.
I really think it will. I don't know what the story is. Like, the end, I don't know what it is. And I've told you and people disagree with me, by the way, about Mass Effect 3. I feel like the ending's fairly phoned in.
That was it Isak or D or
Yeah,
something like that? They were saying like, what the hell's wrong with
Yeah,
you?
and I'm glad they loved it. I'm glad they enjoy it. Like, when I say I don't like something, if you do,
Great.
that is my preferred position.
Yeah.
Like, just because I don't like something, if you do, that's even better than me liking it, right? I don't know what the end of this is like. I barely started the main story. So far, I'm loving it. So far, like the few things I've done with Takamura, incredible. The whole stuff with Judy that I've done so far, incredible.
Everything
right?
I've done with Judy as well.
Panam is a great character, right? We suspect that we both made the same basic mistake with Meredith Stout, and now she's not in either of our games. But had we not made that mistake or decision, she would be
something else that we could have
right.
done, yeah.
So
we'll find out soon anyway. Once we play the game, that was when we can make our informed decision about it.
I really hope. Plus, I actually don't think I'm going to give an opinion on what the story is after my first playthrough.
Yeah, because
I'm going to play it drastically
there's
different.
so many different ways to play it. Like we thought at the beginning maybe there wasn't that many ways to play it, but then after discussing a few points, we're like, we've locked out a few characters, locked out a few paths.
Yeah.
That are probably gonna be different in another playthrough, so we have to at least play it again to see what happens.
There are multiple things, like say like your romance option, right? Well, I know you're trying to romance Judy, obviously, right?
I mean, yeah.
And you presume she's gay.
She's my girl.
I think she is gay because I think her and Evelyn Parker have a romantic entanglement. My next playthrough, I'm going to do female. I have no idea who the male romances are.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have to find them. Then I may have to do like a gay male romance and then a female gay romance. You know, like I like romances in the games. So with Mass Effect, I romance everybody.
Yeah.
Because it not so much changes the game. Like the story beats are all the same.
Yeah.
But like,
it's another perspective.
What you learn about the characters. Some of these characters are insanely deep.
Yeah.
And I love that in the game. And so just for that, I'm going to have to play it at least one or two more times, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know about you, but I like playing things totally different. Like if I'm going to be like, currently I'm kind of playing a solo, like shooty death kill, warrior guy with basically no morals, right?
Yeah.
Like I'll kill anyone, pretty much.
I'm playing it with morals. I'm just like, I want to help people.
I'm going to play the good netrunner next.
Yeah.
Right? I'm going to be the moral female nomad or maybe street kid with morals, like thief but not like murderer, whereas my guy's more murderer but not thief.
You're a merc at the end of the day, right?
Yeah, I'm a merc. I am a gun for hire. I'll just do the Leon thing, like actually forget the no women, just no children. Like
which, by the way, when I saw children in this game, I was like, hold on, there isn't usually children in games, and that's so strange.
One couple things. One, I actually had that same thing. Oh, hey, look, there's kids walking around.
First, I thought they were midgets, though.
I was literally about to say, do they not look like angry little midgets just walking around like, hey, get out of the way, loser?
This game's got midgets. I was like, oh, wait, it's a kid. Okay.
Yeah. Right. I'm glad. If there was anyone in the world that was going to have that same thought, it was you. I'm so glad that we
yes
had that same
with this dub.
Cool.
The second question as well in the second and final question in the Game of the Year discussion that I asked the guys over on our Discord server, link in the description if you want to join that as well. The biggest gaming mistake of 2020.
Ooh.
I put down a bunch of things here, and I also left an other option as well.
What's your list?
So I put down the list here. Cyberpunk 2077 releasing on PS4 and Xbox One.
Yeah.
Big mistake. Kratos in Fortnite.
Yeah.
Ubisoft. ...
Yeah.
Just them in general.
So far, this is a sick list. Yeah.
Shep's playing Spider-Man on stream and sucking. I just made that in there for a little joke.
How many votes did that get?
Hold on, I'll tell you in a second. Microsoft buying Bethesda and Marvel's Avengers.
Damn, son.
I went hard. I went hard on these ones right here. And then a couple of guys wrote in with a couple of other things. And it goes, why is Among Us not on the list, as in the above list for Game of the Year?
Yeah. Wait. Oh, for Game of the Year.
For Game of the Year.
Fair.
Eddie playing AC2. And
you know what? I just realised you're throwing so much shade at me. There is a catalogue of you playing these games, especially AC, like some of the most beloved, the early AC games.
I've been
missing the hugs with Leo. See that? Okay, that's one of the fundamental differences between you and me. So I never miss any of that stuff.
Yeah.
Because I'm like desperate for it. That's all I want to play. If I have a main story mission and there's one door that leads down a different hall, dude, I'm exploring that hall. And if it takes me 15 hours to complete a 3-hour game, that's why.
That's why we're never gonna get this Cyberpunk.
But Leo gets his hug first straight away. You know, that's the difference, isn't it?
And also one final one that the guy sent in, Eddie. Just that's it, Eddie. Cool. That's the only thing right there.
Interesting list.
And the winner is Shep's playing Spider-Man, Miles Morales. So Spider-Man on stream is sucking. No, he's right there.
I can believe it. These guys, you're all toxic and I hate you. That's why the Patreon's going up.
The suit of conversations again speaking for everyone. In third place, with 10% of the votes, Marvel's Avengers. That's the third biggest mistake in gaming in 2020.
Yeah, I can see it.
In second place, with 30.6% of the votes.
Yeah.
Cyberpunk 2077 releasing on PS4 and Xbox One.
Before we say first place,
go on.
I genuinely don't know. I haven't looked. I trust you guys to make the right decision. And I will let you know. Please continue.
And the winner, with 38.9% of the votes, the biggest gaming mistake of 2020, Ubisoft.
Yes, boys. Patreon staying at the same price.
There you go, guys. You won it. I love I wrote this down and everyone instantly understood what I said. Top Row Ben wrote into our podcast channel when he goes, I love how it's just Ubisoft. Not specific about the sexual harassment within the company and everything to do with Ashraf or all the other members of the company or the games that they've released this year and how out of touch they all are as a company. Just Ubisoft. That's all, and it's perfect.
Yeah, it's funny because I'm actually on this section and my cursor is on that comment, but I hadn't read it. I only read Juice's comment above it.
Above it, there you go.
And I'm going to be honest, I'm glad you wrote it exactly that way.
It has to be, because they've done so much wrong. Them as a company is the problem.
You couldn't have fit it any of the specifics. There's too many.
Yeah. No. So at this point, it's just Ubisoft.
Yeah.
You guys need to go. You guys need to get out of gaming for everyone else to be happy.
Yeah.
It's like when EA does, microtransactions would be gone if EA was not there. We could get rid of them and 90% of it would be gone. Gaming would be so much better without Ubisoft.
I think you're not wrong.
I mean, they brought AC Valhalla. Of course, that's one major negative.
I mean, the big thing about that, from what my understanding of the game, they've just got no respect for people's time.
No.
Forget that it's also relatively buggy, apparently, right?
Yeah. Two of the pillars, once again, James and Tyler, their discussion. Tyler apparently just doesn't like it because it's just far too long. There's so much unnecessary fluff in it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, when you're an AC game and people have got mixed feelings about you, you can't afford to waste people's time and give people stuff that they don't want. You should have made a nicer narrative and everything would be okay.
To that point, we just spoke about Ghost of Tsushima. I don't feel like that game was long. I got a good amount of hours in there. I don't feel like I wasted my time at all. Cyberpunk, despite all the bugs, and despite that apparently there is a main story, all I've done is side content fluff, although not actually always realizing it was side content. You know, like a lot of these jobs you think are part of the main story, they're not. You know, if you look in the quest log, they're not main gigs. I'm loving it. I don't feel like my time's wasted at all. And the fact that, and I've got to say already, I've got easily 20 hours. Yeah. Easily. I'll check. And I think you're over 30.
I think I'm at 37 now, last time I checked.
Right. Like, I'm loving it.
Yeah.
You know, I don't feel like my time's wasted at all. And the fact that these guys are talking about a game where I'm halfway through AC Valhalla in terms of time played.
Yeah.
Loving it. Don't feel like I've even scratched the surface, right? You about completed it in terms of time played. Neither one of us feels like our time's been wasted.
Yeah.
And some people do for AC. Like, either the pacing, something's wrong.
Yeah.
You know, and wasting people's time. Look.
One of the biggest sins, I think. Because they've bought in already and they're in and they're doing it and you're wasting their time.
One of the things that we've said, this is about like, you know, I don't push our Patreon, right?
Yeah.
Because in my opinion, like I love our Patreon. I'm not trying to tell anyone not to join.
But you should go over there and join right now.
Yeah, for as little as $1 a month, it's incredible value for money. The value proposition is off the
You
charts.
should probably go for that $69 tier. That's what you should do.
But like, everybody that consumes our content pays for it.
Yeah.
Right? And they pay with their time. And that's incredibly valuable to both of us, we find, right?
Yeah.
That's why if a podcast sucks, there's actually been a few times where we're like, we need to restart.
Yeah, it's been painful.
We've got an
but
hour in or
we
2 hours
feel
in and gone like, do you know what? I'm not feeling it. It's not good. Because even if you watch for free with ad block on or blah, 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 whatever, you pay, right? You have to spend your time to listen to us.
Yeah.
And that's valuable to us. And we care about it. And if we don't make something that we think is worth you listening to or watching, I mean, frick the audio virgins. This is a visual show. The audio virgins are losing out on these epic sweaters.
They're not seeing our Christmas sweaters. They're not seeing my Santa hat.
You must be roasting.
Do you know, I'm actually okay. Usually I'm the kind of guy that gets hot really easy. I wear t-shirts all the time. If you don't see me from the waist down, I'm usually wearing shorts.
Yeah.
But I'm okay. And also, you guys wouldn't see me with my epic new podcast microphone right here. It looks professional.
What made you choose to upgrade?
Stupidity in one word.
Yeah. Do they know, by the way? Did you make a tweet?
I actually didn't mention. Okay, no. What happened was, so if you're watching on the video, you can see I've got my microphone on an arm. I was just adjusting it. I was like loosening it here, and I was gonna like fold it away.
Yeah.
I'd loosened it too much, and then it just swung down, and it just smashed into the base of it. And I was like, "Oh, that sounded deep." I mean, it looks okay.
Yeah.
Let me just see how it's working. Oh, yeah, this isn't working anymore. I thought maybe if it's working okay, maybe it's just a jiggle of the wire.
Yeah.
No, it didn't want to work anymore. So yeah, we've got this brand new Shure microphone. Maybe my voice sounds better. You might have noticed that.
Yeah, well, I'm going to be really pissed if it's much better because you've already got the good camera. I'm running on the older. In fairness, right? I think you did it this way where you took the price of our current setup from Patreon, which is what I asked you to do. Yeah. And then you wanted a better mic, so you put your money on top of it.
Yeah, I was like, I felt bad because it was my fucking mistake. How stupid of me to do that.
This is what the Patreon is for.
It's true. The guys, they're listening. They're probably going, this is what we support you guys for. So you do it. But I was like, I made a huge mistake. I'm going to put my money into it as well. Like, and then we'll bridge the cost.
We're not like, I don't want to use any name in particular, but we're not these like chick simp lord types who get paid millions, and these dudes donos are paying for like our holidays to Bali or something, right?
Yeah.
Like 100% of the Patreon supports channel. That's what it's for.
Yeah.
So, and the fact that you wanted to upgrade and you took the price of what we normally would have got, and then you went above on your own money.
Yeah.
I'm totally happy with that. Because this is a split, right? 50-50, motherfucker. I'm nickeling and diming this thing.
Guys, please bear one voice. I don't get to feed Isla.
I love how you would continue to eat, but Isla's going to not.
Yeah, I mean, I have to eat. Come on. I'm the face of the show. She's not on here.
Right. I need to buy new beard oils. Like, Isla eats for 2 days. Oh, my beard smells like tobacco and leather.
Exactly. Which one do you prefer?
Right.
You can tell that over the podcast, obviously. Yeah, so that's what happened with that.
Yeah, frick Ubisoft.
Let's read a few of the... so I asked people to write in as well with their Game of the Year discussion as well, what they felt like. And we'll read a few of these. Do you want to read Juice's one since it's at the top?
Yeah.
We'll tandem that way.
Juice says, my game of the year was Tsushima. It might be one of my favorite games of all time. Didn't actually play all the other games except Valhalla, and frick that game. Cyberpunk's whole launch was a massive mistake. The Ubisoft has taken an L this year, so I went with Ubi for the biggest mistake.
A lot of people did.
Dude, I want to be very clear about when we gave our Game of the Year to Last of Us. And I think we did in the time. That is no slight towards Ghost of Tsushima. I love that game.
Yeah.
I've put a lot of time on it.
It's not this is great, so therefore that one sucks. It's not that sort of situation. It's just, these are so great.
The last time I checked my time played on the PS4, for some reason it wasn't tracking the hours played in Legends. So it was just the story thing, and I have more time on that than Last of Us 2.
Damn.
So I put a lot of time on it. I really love that game. So good.
It is really freaking good.
And I played it wrong. I played it in English because I was expecting to make a lot of content for it. Should have played it in Japanese. I'm going to go back and play it in Japanese.
Go play it in Japanese, sir.
Gonna have to.
Our next comment is from our boy Hunter. Hashtag the fierce fucking banners. Right, okay.
Okay.
I'm going to pretend I know what that reference is. So, Chaperone and Edwin. I'm going to go with that. I love those names, by the way. Perfect. Leave them like that. We all know that Cyberpunk is a buggy mess and missing content, but what do you do if you could only get one feature in the game? Third-person camera? That's a question right there. I think the third-person camera would have been great.
I agree.
I think that probably would have been... If I could pick one feature, that would be the one I would pick right there.
I actually agree.
Yeah, it's... All the other ones are great, but they're too small to wish for.
Yeah, I mean, it depends, right? Like, my other things are unreasonable. Like, I would open up, if I could pick one feature, the city would be like alive. So, you know, all those doors where it says like locked.
Yes.
I'd have them unlocked, and there'd be stuff in there.
Yeah.
But that is like 10 times more game.
Yeah.
Right? It's not reasonable to do that. So I don't think I could really pick that.
And
to be fair,
PS4 at all.
right, or 5.
Yeah.
I think that would make that game what I expected it to be, like almost 200 gigs.
Yeah.
Right? It's really too much to ask. The Mantis Blade wall running, that sounds great, but I would only want that to be the case if, and I hope they do this with the double jump and the charge jump things, where once you get that, it turns out that there actually is a lot of stuff that you couldn't get to. But now that you've spunked 45,000 eddies on double jump or whatever, you can get to that door that you couldn't get to before. Or maybe take it to like a new game plus when you have the double jump. Mm. And suddenly actually there is a platform up there, and well, what's up there? You get up there and there's a whole extra part of the game that now you can get to this new dimension you can explore.
It would be great, wouldn't it?
And if there was Mantis Blade wall running, I would also want that to be the case. I don't just want it to be an extra way to
somewhere.
Right, I wouldn't just want it to be an extra form of running around the map. I'd want it to unlock areas.
It's like a Jedi Fallen Order. When you get new powers, you can get to more areas because you can do more things and whatnot.
Exactly that, where once you remembered how to jump, Cal...
I'm sorry, I forgot. Let me just meditate and think of my Jedi training. Jump, there we go.
Or like, the one that really bugged me is the very first time I saw one of those vines, and it doesn't even glow or look different because you don't have that ability yet. Yeah. I looked at it and went, that is a force, that is an object. I can definitely interact with that, and I don't have the ability right now, right? But as soon as you get those abilities, you're like, well, now I have to go back to Dathomir. Now I have to go back to those other planets. Yeah. Dathomir is the only one I remember. And run through it and suddenly see what this new area is, because now I can move that object or pull that thing towards me, and that can help me fix this puzzle or get across that other location. And I would like Mantis Blades, assuming the wall running...
It unlocked something.
Right, if there are areas that you can't get to without it.
Yeah. I
don't just want to be... And it would be cool, but I don't just want to be able to run up the side of walls.
Yeah, because it's going to be useful for like 5 times. It's not going to be that much.
Exactly.
Do you want to read the next one from Who Killed Captain Alex from Movie Club?
Yeah, I will. Last thing, I'm sure somebody would want the car. Oh, do you know what?
Car customization.
V customization might be a good one.
Yeah, that's something bad that they've taken out, man. It's just so funny when you look at it through the lens of Cyberpunk being all about body modification, and you can't modify your body.
Although I would like to add in, as we're like imaginary doing this, not just things like you can change your hair or like I would want it to be like full cyberware stuff as well. Like if you get, maybe I get a full robotic arm.
Yeah.
Right, and that gives me advantages on certain things.
Yeah.
Or
because a lot of people have a full robot arm.
Yeah.
But ours is just like, no, it's just the little tech stuff you see.
Right, exactly. Maybe I want to go full like Atom Smasher. Yeah. Maybe not full Terminator, but you know, like how he is in the flashback, where he's still almost full robot, is close to Royce than Terminator.
Yeah.
Like maybe I want to go that far. Maybe I want to go. You know, those people that are like all gold, all black, all chrome.
Yes.
Right. Or maybe I just want to be like a Chrome Gamora, you know? That might be a cool feature. I might actually pick that.
I actually
over
wanted
third
to.
Person.
That's what I wanted to be. Actually, by the way, I was trying to style my view over Gamora Gamora, but you can't have like green skin.
That makes no sense to me. You can customize everything. Right? I can change the size of my e-peen, but not my skin color. There are
penis like, 1 or penis 2.
Some of those eyes, by the way, have like all sorts of stuff in them, right?
Reminded me of Last Action Hero.
Right, yeah, exactly. Exactly. Like, I can change my eyeballs, but not my skin color. Come on, man. Ridiculous.
And it just looked weird without the green skin.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, she just looks like a girl with like reddish
Yeah.
hair and one. I was like, all right, well, still, let's go. Anyway, go on, read out Isak's comment.
Oh, yes. So, Isak says, my personal game of the year wasn't The Last of Us 2, although I did think it deserves the award. My issue with it is that it dragged and I didn't enjoy certain sections yet, basically.
Fair
I
point.
think you're talking about the whole Abby thing. My game of the year would have to be Doom Eternal.
Ooh.
There was simply not a single moment I didn't enjoy, and it never dragged. Music was incredible. Yes, it was. What the frick Game Awards? Why didn't it win Best Music?
Didn't it? I need to know what won. I'm sorry.
This is a really tough one because its music is absolutely perfect for Doom,
Yeah.
right? But so is also The Last of Us and Ghost of Tsushima. They both have incredible soundtracks. But if that had won it, you would have no arguments from me. Gameplay, even on consoles, was amazing and has a consistent frame rate. Yeah, I actually totally agree. There wasn't a single bit I didn't enjoy. That game is incredible and heavily overlooked, way underrated in the discussion. What won?
I can't see the. I could see best audio design, but that's not
the
music.
same. Yeah.
Soundtrack, sporting, racing, best multiplayer, content creator of the year.
Us, obviously, yeah.
Us, obviously, athletes. I think I've missed it because it's not view categories. Hold on a sec.
I'm going to say, Isak, I don't disagree with you. I
Here
think
we go.
You're on to a winner. With
Best music and score. Final Fantasy VII Remake.
that. I didn't play it because I played Final Fantasy VII, so I have no real need to play the remake.
I've heard some of the music. It's nice. It's good.
Yeah.
But Doom Eternal's on a new level. Anyway, that's the Game Awards for you. That's
Yeah.
why no one cares.
I would certainly say Doom Eternal winning Best Music, I wouldn't argue with that.
Yeah.
You know, so good.
Yeah. Did you finish that comment off? Did you read
Yes,
that?
yeah.
Okay, let me read the. Let me go to another one of these Game of the Year discussion ones, and then we'll go back to some of these other questions.
Freaking hell,
What's that?
Luke.
Luke is wrong. Cyberpunk is. Luke is going. This isn't a question. It's just to piss off Eddie. Halo Infinite looks better than Cyberpunk. You son of a bitch! Take that back.
I have seen a few memes. You know the Halo Infinite, the brute picture that we saw,
Yeah.
where they've taken that and like the PS4 or Xbox One Johnny Silverhand and stuff.
Yeah.
And actually talking about that quest that I was on where we couldn't hear the chick on the phone.
Yes.
Those NPCs there looked very similar to that, and that's on PS5. Despite that, I'm loving the game. I want to be clear, I'm loving it.
Exactly.
But a couple times I've been like, ooh, someone, like, this was the night staff, innit? That was the night shift, wasn't it?
The next comment is from Dean
Dean Claus.
Dean Claus. There we go. That's a weird way to say that.
I hate that you work your name to everything, but I love that you do it for everything.
I love it, D. You're a integral part.
What
of the
level is he
community.
on the Patreon?
He's on the True Gamer level. We forgive you.
You're forgiven.
Actually, no, he isn't. Shit, he's not even a patron.
You suck.
I saw his color and I thought it was, but he's Mace Windu. We hate you. Okay.
You suck. And you hate Mace Windu for other reasons,
I
like
do.
his skin color.
Exactly. I can't believe I just said that.
We're getting banned. I'm the guy that's like, don't say this stuff, don't swear, and you'll get demonetized. And then
The thing is that I'm a big fan of improv comedy, and when you said it, I have to agree with.
yeah,
That's
it's,
the way
it's
it
the
works.
yes and thing, isn't it? It's like yes and you build on top of what people say, right?
And you literally said you're racist, right? And I'm like, yeah, of course.
yeah, and the bigot.
Fuck me. It goes, my personal game of the year was Doom Eternal. Just kidding. I don't think that Doom, I don't really think that Doom, the mindless shooter, deserves game of the year. No way. Shit game. And in brackets he writes, this is mostly done to spite Corwin. Yep, that's right.
I mean, yeah.
He goes, for year, my game of the year is The Last of Us 2. I played the whole thing at my cousin's house and I loved it. The story was perfect in my opinion and the gameplay was a massive improvement over The Last of Us 1. So that's my game of the year.
I just have this image in my head of D, his cousins, like way overstaying his welcome. Like he's invited round for dinner and he stays for a week playing on the poor guy's like PS4.
It's like, I've got shit to do.
Yeah, like he's supposed to be in school. He's got like homework to do.
Don't worry about it. I'll stay in your room. Don't worry about it.
He got a weekend job but never turned up for the first shift. You know?
Yeah, that's right.
It's good.
Go on, you read the next one.
Josh says, my game of the year was Ghost. Just because of how immersive the open world was and how alive it was. The quality of the missions, it might have been Miles Morales if I had played it.
Miles Morales was good, but I think Ghost of Tsushima, for the sheer size of it
Yeah.
and the dedication to detail and whatnot.
The thing
I
about
love
Ghost of
Miles
Tsushima,
Morales as well.
yeah, you raved about it.
Yeah.
It is really good.
The Miles Morales himself, as I said, it's on the level of Into the Spider-Verse Miles Morales. I think he's
That's
so
high
well done.
praise.
Yeah,
Because
well done.
I would say that movie is one of the best superhero movies I've watched.
Yeah,
He's really good.
it's good.
It's up there. I would genuinely put it in the discussion with things like Endgame. So Endgame has to take it, but it's like top 5, top 10 at least.
Yeah.
So good, so well done. The thing about Ghost of Tsushima is the island really does feel alive.
Yeah.
And the things like the birds taking you places, the foxes being there, and the wind, like you are on Tsushima, right? Like it's so good. I want to change my answer to Ghost of Tsushima, but it's still the last was 2 for me. But
Yeah.
but I keep wanting to change it, but I can't bring myself to do it.
Like I said, we're speaking here, having this discussion, it's sort of moved Ghost of Tsushima closer up to Last of Us for me, and it's painful.
And
It's painful to see.
it makes me want to play it again. Okay, that's another good point, right? Both of these games, a lot of these games have these incredible opening sequences. For me, the best opening, Ghost of Tsushima. That riding through those fields.
The way the music swelled and hit, I was like, I was not expecting this.
As a joke, I ruined the Spider-Man PS4.
Yeah.
Right?
The same way that girl did on the stream for Ghost.
But I would never have done it for Ghost.
Yeah.
Like, and not just because I like Ghost of Tsushima, right? But like that one was too good. Whereas Spider-Man, it was a 2-year-old game, year-old by then.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was on stream. It was for fun. It was just to annoy you, right? But had we been playing Ghost of Tsushima, I would not have done that. It's just too impactful.
I want to know what went through that girl's mind. Because it's not like there was a shiny object or there was a bird or a fox. It was just, it went out.
Oh, so good as well.
Turn off to the side.
Yeah.
And it's like, what? What are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Oh my God. That hurt me.
Painful. Okay. Ben the Reindeer Charmer, he writes and he says, my game of the year is AC Odyssey, even though because it's the only game I've played since 2018. The story, the characters, everything is just so good. It puts Last of Us to shame. I was considering Ghost of Tsushima as game of the year, but it's lacking pretty much everywhere. Like, where's the dialogue options? Where's the crit hit numbers flying off the screen? And I can't even choose my gender or anything. Shake my head. So yeah, Odyssey is game of the year. Everything else is just mediocre or bad, like Cyberpunk. Also, Odyssey has more depth than Cyberpunk, and that is a fact. And visually, Halo Infinite is better than Cyberpunk.
I hate you so much.
P.S. All I've done is state the facts. Okay, guys.
I also love
That was bloody hilarious. I like that.
that was very funny. I love the idea of someone only having played games in 2018 and not having played God of War.
Mate.
Like they played AC Odyssey, but
It's
not
all the
God of
game
War.
I need.
Also, isn't Odyssey set in ancient Greece, right? Kratos is Greek from ancient Greece.
So 2018, I played the game about ancient Greek mythology and whatnot, stuff like that. AC Odyssey.
Right.
It's like, whoa!
Oh.
It's that moment
The
where
funny
Kratos
thing
gets
is-
his rage. It's like,
Do you know what's funny?
Oh, shit. Camera.
Do you know what is funny? Is God of War beat both those AC Odyssey and Valhalla because it's got the better ancient Greek and the better Norse.
AC just can't do it right. They just can't. Oh god, that's funny, right?
I'll read the next two because this one's quite short. Diogo the North Pole Guard says, Final Fantasy VII Remake. That's it. That's the message.
Just the message.
No Diego essays as to why. It just is.
That's a first for Diogo. No essays. That's
Yeah.
the first one right
And
there.
do you know what is refreshing is that he can be wrong in such a concise.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm surprised you can be that wrong
That
with
quickly.
so little words so quickly. Exactly.
Yeah, it's great.
God, Diogo, you surprise
You're really
me all the
growing.
time. Yeah.
I mean, maybe try having a good opinion once in a while, but otherwise, pretty good.
Charlie, he sucks so much, doesn't he?
Dr. Sicarius, who is why I can never remember his actual name, but says, I want to nominate. I hate you so much. I want to nominate Dirt 5 for Game of the Year. Personally, it has been such a good game. The storyline is fantastic. The mechanics are way better than Dirt 5. And they incorporate the theme of Dirt very well into the game.
There's a storyline to Dirt?
Who cares? You guys are trolls. Like, we're asking you real questions. The hard-hitting questions. And you're talking about AC Odyssey. I hate you so much. I respect it, but I hate it so much.
Top Row Benzel says, Diogo, you say that, but the true answer should be The Last of Us 2. That's it. Top Row Ben essay as to why. Top Row Ben essay as to why. That's just that he's copying his one there.
Then there's the command for Diogo, which I love that.
Freak Diogo right there. Samurai Kai is like, Dirt 5 mechanics are better than Dirt 5.
Let's have a look. Is there anything else? You said, I haven't played Miles Morales. But why do you think it should have been nominated for Game of the Year? I also, so he is right. Hades was nominated for Game of the Year.
Yes.
It was in the discussion.
It was in the discussion.
Not our one, but like the less official ones.
Yes. Less official. The ones that people don't really regard highly.
And I have to say, everybody that's played it, that is into that kind of game, says it's incredible. It says it's really good. It's not my kind of thing. It's not something I would find myself ever picking up, really. Even like if there was a choice for what we played on stream, for example, maybe that would be the only reason, but I would stack it so that people would probably pick something else anyway. Games I was more likely to want to play. Yeah,
when you put it in a poll, you're like, this, and then put that in the middle.
Right.
I want to, so finish what you're going to say, because I want to ask Corin a question.
Sure.
Cool, go on. Sorry, did we saying sure to pass it to me, or were you going to say you're going to continue?
I'll wrap it up.
Go on.
It's apparently really good.
Yeah.
And everybody that's played it that likes those things says it's brilliant. And I think Corwin was one of them.
Corwin was saying as well, like he asked the question in the last episode, and honestly I didn't have an answer for him, so we couldn't answer it. He was saying like, what indie games have you played in the last like year and whatnot? And to be honest, with the amount of time we've got, I personally don't have enough time to play it all.
Cyberpunk, man.
Yeah, that's the best indie game that I've played so far.
Technically.
I would like some people to recommend some stellar indie games that I will try to squeeze in over the next year. Because I do feel bad that I don't get to play these games. Just because they're smaller, made by a smaller team, doesn't mean that they're not going to make something amazing. Not quite.
You actually will be able to play 12 minutes.
That's true.
Because you have an Xbox One X.
Well, Xbox One S.
Whatever, man.
The naming weird thing, whatever.
You got a loser box downstairs.
Yeah. Well,
DVD
to talk about one of the topics that we were going to bring up, maybe I might not get to play it, actually. Yeah, we'll wrap this up pretty soon because we're getting quite long. Yeah. We never mean to go this fucking long, but we do. Apparently, Halo Infinite might not be coming out for the previous gen consoles.
Well, hold on a minute. That's anti-consumer.
That's anti-consumer, and Microsoft is not about being anti-consumer, and Phil Spencer better have a statement ready, and he better be ready to refund everybody all of their Xboxes, because Xbox is not anti-consumer, and that is.
I actually think it's a good idea.
Yes.
Except that they've been banging on about how they're not going to release any next-gen only titles, so everything's backwards compatible because they want to be, like, they're not even sticking to their own line. Yes. Now, it seems like it's the exact same thing that we said would happen with Cyberpunk, which is the older consoles just are not going to be able to run it. Yeah. Probably true. Yeah. First things first, they should focus on making it just an incredible game. Yeah. Because I don't care how bad it is on what, if it's a bad game that you can only play on one console, you can play on everything, it doesn't matter, right? I mean, okay, it's just Phil Spencer being so freaking cocky.
That's it.
That's the bit that really burns.
It's such a great turn of events though, because like we weren't saying this game should not be on previous gen consoles because we hate gamers. We're saying it because we want the game to be the best possible version it could be, and we want absolutely no shackles holding it back. But then he's painting us who say those kind of things as bastards, as assholes of the internet who just think about themselves.
You're so demanding, and
exactly. So now he's gonna have to eat a whole box of humble pie right there, because He's done it to himself, and I can't wait to hear what the statement will be. By the way, this isn't confirmed. This is just based on one LinkedIn profile where they said,
good enough for me.
Running on
confirmed.
Who wants to work on Halo Infinite? It's coming out for the Xbox Series S, X, and PC. It doesn't mention anything else.
Well, the S is basically a 1. That's 1S.
1X is, but it's different architecture. That's the thing. That's the thing that why they put it in that same bracket. Anyway, that's the news on that. Yeah,
it is just the fact that Spencer comes out and bangs on about how much better they are for gamers and how pro-consumer they are and how they care so much when obviously they don't, because they don't bring out anything for you to play, which is the real thing, my real beef. And then their whole thing is, we don't have anything new for you. Yeah. We just have the next installment of a franchise that we've already proved we cannot handle without the original team.
Bungie,
right? So, and then being so like, oh, we're so high and mighty. Oh, crap. Yeah, it's not going to work. First things first, make it good.
Yeah.
And then, like, because this is the thing. If it's good, if it's every bit as good as like Halo 3, no one's going to care.
Yeah.
By the time it comes out in like mid 2021 or 2022, everybody's going to have finally got the next generation thing. Like, no one cares. No one's going to care. I mean, we're going to constantly bring it up. Because we're petty as frick.
We are.
But.
And when we're right, we're right.
Yeah.
We're going to tell you.
And we are right quite often.
Exactly.
We are right quite often.
We are.
Which is funny because I can't get anything else right in my life.
Yeah, everything else is just falling apart. But gaming calls, we can call it.
That's right.
The other topic that I wanted to bring up is that some of the investors might be possibly, well, they are in fact, putting up a class action lawsuit against CD Projekt RED regarding how misleading they were to them.
Yeah.
They were telling them a couple of months before release that the game is actually finished and done. Yeah. They're just in a little bit of polishing phases where they could play the game and everything's fine. They just want to polish a few things up, when clearly the game was in much worse straits when it comes to the base last-gen consoles. So that's something, and it'll be quite interesting how that goes.
That's exactly what we said. What were we talking about? But last True Gamer podcast, we were saying that the reason they do something is for the trailers, the 6-second CG clips.
Yes.
The reason they do that is they say, look at all the buzz on the internet, and they use that to leverage investor money and all sorts of stuff and loans and things, right? This is what happens when that goes wrong. Yeah. They try to do that exact same thing, and either they were drastically misinformed about what people were going to be playing it on, because I'm sure for beast rigs on gaming consoles, on gaming PCs only, that statement was probably fairly accurate.
Yeah.
Right? But in reality, where as many, if not more people are getting it on last gen consoles, some people are getting it on current consoles, and a few people, and about that same number, are getting it on PC.
Yeah.
And they're not all beast gaming rigs. They're not all like 5K rigs with water cooling and 3090s.
Yeah.
Right? It's not true. So, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Then again, who are those investors? Because if they're taking money from Suits, do I care?
That's the thing. They're the ones up the top that put the pressure on the people who could actually make the decisions within CDPR. So I don't have any sympathy for these bastards, you know?
I know what the problem was.
Go on.
Not enough crunch.
They need more crunch, yeah.
All they did was one additional day a week, right? Why weren't these guys being whipped, nose to the grindstone? We've seen other games go through crunch. Last of Us 2 had crunch.
Yeah.
Came out. Whether you like it or not is different, but it was polished. It absolutely worked on everything it could be played on.
Yeah.
Right? Flawlessly.
So this game needed more crunch.
More crunch. It should have been 7 days a week, minimum 12-hour shifts, no overtime pay.
Exactly.
Like regular salary.
The game coming out should have been all the incentive you needed.
Right, exactly.
Your CV.
And they're all, exactly. And they're also, I would go as far as say, feed them, right? But like sandwiches with just a little bit of sand grit in it.
Oh god.
So like you biting, you're like,
what is that? It's just
yeah.
just enough to be annoying.
Right, exactly. That's how you do crunch properly.
Jason Schreier, get in here.
I'm available for strategy meetings if any of these companies want
Do you
tips.
know what? That's the worst part about this, is that if the game had come out and it was flawless, right?
Yeah.
Jason Schreier would have had to retreat into a hole and no one cared about it. Back into his hole, I should say, where no one cares about him. But the fact that it has come out and it's still bad, it almost, even though the two aren't mutually exclusive, it seems like it supports his version of the world and how terrible everything is. And I bet he's written like 10 articles and stuff like that where nobody really cares about the nonsense he talks.
So I'm about the only one in the community that still isn't blocked.
God, you need to get on that.
I mean, I could. I just have no reason to ever tweet the guy.
Yeah.
I didn't realize he had been tweeting because I just don't care about this guy.
God, what's he been saying?
I don't even know, but he has been tweeting. It doesn't seem that there's that much about. Here we go. I'll have to read this. He's probably whining or bitching about how he was right about the crunch not helping. But to be honest, like, frick him, he's a click whore.
Yep.
Worse than we are.
Worse than
Like,
us.
at the end of the day, we don't care about crunch. Just make a good game.
Yeah, and then as well as, like, if people are...
Especially the way CDPR does it. If you're going to, like, that isn't exactly crunch, is it?
Yeah, I mean, when the game turned out the way it was, right, the developers, they did come out and cry about it, but they weren't crying about how long they were working. They were crying about how they were depicted because their game had been rushed out when they wanted to clearly work more on it.
Yeah, it wasn't like oh my God, we worked all this time and look at how it is. Or they made us come in all this time and look, it still didn't help.
There was not,
Yeah,
the
it was
word isn't
nothing
about the
but-
crunch, it's
yeah.
about that.
Yeah.
Anyway, and also they did change up their scheme as well. There was like if the game hits 90
Here we
or
go.
plus, go on.
I just clocked this one thing he said, and I don't know the context, but this is just what it says. One asks, quote, how could they make a game about exploitative corporations while forcing devs to crunch? Cry more, Jason. Like, come on, cuck. God damn.
This guy hasn't worked a solid day of his life. Anyway, because we're running low on time, we've got less than 12 minutes to wrap this up. Otherwise, it won't go up on some podcast services.
Okay.
Two things. PlayStation and Xbox are now offering refunds to people who have bought the base PlayStation
Yes.
consoles. One, you can buy it with there's only PlayStation 4 and Xbox versions out there. So
Yeah.
if you want to get a refund, you can go do that. That's being done directly from Sony and Xbox, so you can get that done as a blanket policy. Go ahead and do that if you want to.
would probably say wait out, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's their money and they
Yeah.
can do what they like. I'm waiting it out. I feel
I'm
like
waiting
the
it
game's good enough for me anyway to play. So
We're playing on next gen.
Yeah.
The likelihood is if you're like a gamer, right, that you'll, when the stock comes available, get a next gen console or an incredible gaming rig. If that is the case, probably hang on to the game.
yeah.
We think that's our recommendation, because despite the bugs on next gen, it's been great.
Yeah.
So that would be what we recommend.
But we are CDPR shills. Haha,
It's
look at
true.
all this stuff we got behind
It's
us.
true.
Oh my God.
We're paid actors.
Exactly.
So-
Paid actors like all those other guys.
So is your money is up to you. But that's where we are.
Yeah.
Just wanted to say that.
And one final thing to wrap this all up. Today, KFC have unveiled their KFC gaming console.
I thought that was a troll post, like on Reddit or something.
I thought it
I
was
only
too.
saw the picture, but go on.
So that was the picture that you may have seen from like a couple of months ago. That was all they showed. And we were like, they're messing with us. They're so funny.
All they did was make a bargain bucket look like a console.
But no, this is actually happening.
Yeah.
They've revealed the specs of it, and it's basically a small PC essentially. It's got an Intel i9 processor. It's got an RTX Nvidia graphics card, one of the new ones in there, and it has a built-in chicken warmer. And I want it.
I was just about to say, I'd be in.
I'd be down. So KFC, if you're listening, KFC Gaming, we are true gamers here. We
Oh
will
my God,
definitely
can you
get one of
imagine
those.
A future where, thanks to 2020, KFC is in the console war discussion.
Mate, because Xbox
Oh
has been
my
pushed
God.
to the side. Imagine if KFC comes up in the rear and is
This
like,
is their problem. Microsoft didn't realize that it wasn't just Amazon and Facebook that was their real competition, right? They had to watch out for McDonald's and KFC too.
oh God. Oh, people were like, oh, will Apple enter the gaming space? No. KFC, guys. That fast food place. You got a fucking 3-piece chicken meal and you can also get some epic gaming done.
I'm kind of intrigued. I hope this is real.
That's the thing. They've shown off specs and it looks legit.
And it's not anywhere near April.
Yeah,
This isn't
right?
like April Fools.
And the when they announced it, I don't think it was April when they announced the first one. And we was like, guys, April Fools is like time ago. And they've tagged a Cool Master, which is a cooling CPU cooler company and whatnot in there. They've got like all the right things.
Could just be a troll at their Twitter, but
I mean, this is going to be a huge.
It feels
troll.
like it's more than just a couple guys trolling on their social media.
It's like, how's the in a custom cooler Master NC100 chassis? We needed something small but mighty, and that's just what we've got. At the heart of the beast
A
machine,
mighty bucket for one.
at the heart of the beast of the machine is a Intel NUC9 Extreme Compute Element. That sounds so futuristic and fake. Keeping space down while driving the performance of that mere mortals could only dream of.
I'm gonna be honest. If the price point is anywhere near a console, like I might be interested just because it would be funny. And now is the right time. Like no joke, if they can make a console that's actually viable to come out when everybody's clamoring for new consoles, because at the end of the day, look, yeah, people want Xboxes and PlayStations, but what they're asking for is something new to game on.
Yeah. This could be it.
This wouldn't have gone well 1 or 2 years ago.
No.
But right now, actually, maybe in the current climate, if they can get the units out, this would be funny, man. Plus,
I
like,
hope
the chicken warmer
real.
that I got it. That is what makes it sound fake.
It does, innit? I mean,
But it could be.
What is the chicken warmer? Is it just like a tray you put in and then the heating of the
Exactly.
components?
It sits on it's the heat sink.
Oh man, it says here VR ready, ray tracing, 120 FPS, and 4K gaming. That's pretty bad right there.
I mean, those are all the right keywords. Yeah.
It's got all the like sponsors down the bottom. It's got Cool Master, Asus, Seagate. It's got real names here. This might be real. I don't think it's going to be something that's mass produced. I think there's going to be like 50 of them made. They're going to send them out.
I want us to have one.
Please, KFC Gaming.
I want us to have one, and we'll paint it orange.
Guys, tweet out. Anyway, that is the end of the True Gamer podcast. The last one for 2020.
A nice short one to round it out.
Yeah, we didn't waste too much of your time like AC Valhalla.
We stayed on task. We didn't get sidetracked randomly.
But I'm glad we had our Game of the Year discussion. I feel
did.
like this will be one of those episodes that people look forward to like next year. But like, guys, you guys going to do a Game of the Year discussion?
Yeah.
That'd be quite good.
And at the start of next year, we will actually talk about our predictions from the beginning of this year
Yeah.
for the end of this year, which we forgot to figure out what they were.
I wonder what it will be like because it's been such a long time. I don't remember what we said.
I have no idea.
It'd be great to look back at.
I have no idea what we said.
Anyway, guys, thank you all for tuning in. Thank you, bro, for joining me yet again for another episode. I will see you in the next year, and we'll catch you all in the next one.
Catch you next one. Are we doing...
Chicka chicka.
That gives me Ace Ventura vibes, and it's cool when he does it and not you.
Oh. Well, now you hurt my feelings.
Good, that's how we're ending 2021.